Kickoff from your own 20. Team that scores the 2 points gets it right back, and there goes Ebner. Tristan Ebner in a foot race. Can he do it again? Yes, he can. His second kickoff return for a touchdown tonight. His fourth overall.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Kisper now driving and rejected, and Baylor's on a break. Smart move here, little delay. Wagler, splash, killer.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Over the middle, he's got a man in stride, and walking into the end zone is Josh Fleeks with the touchdown.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Rodgers, risky throw, picked off by Patrick Surtain, and they will cross the 35-point threshold with a defensive score.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this Tuesday afternoon. It's April the 27th. A lot of things to get to. Mack Rhodes, Baylor's Director of Athletics. He'll join us today at 4:20. J.J. Joe on the spring game that he was broadcasting. Former Baylor quarterback at 3:30 on his thoughts of all these different type of players that they have at quarterback. And then, of course, later today, David Hellman on the draft and the Cowboys. Jerry and Steven and Mike McCarthy had a press conference. Sean Lee retiring obviously was yesterday's news, but he was there, and also the draft. John McClain at 5:30, his thoughts about the draft as well, plus much more to get to today. Jack McKenzie and Armstrong run the mothership. Craig Smoak and Paul Catalina, and I'm David Smoak, SicEm365 Radio. I don't know. I don't read. I don't stalk many people as far as on social media. I try not to. But I did see a couple of flares today on social media, on Twitter, with Nalissa Smith and Caitlin Pickell, in what, I don't know if you can perceive this as if they are looking to the future, staying at Baylor. Caitlin made the comment, once a Bear, always a Bear. I guess you could look at that as she's staying, but then I don't know. That means she's just always, like Nina Davis said. You know, no matter what, wherever a coach goes, she's always a Baylor Bear. And then Nalissa Smith, all we know is adversity. We got something for y'all. Believe that. And then hashtag Y4. What do you think that means?
I have no idea what that means. And could mean whatever people interpret it to mean.
Year four.
I know. But like whatever. I mean, the whole thing.
Tweet,
yeah. The whole thing. I don't know what that means. And that's why they're ambiguous tweets. I think that they should. I would wait until the new coach got here to see if I wanted to stay or not.
Yeah, I mean, but these are also, young people. These are also just people. And if you look at how a lot of people use social media, I mean, we've discussed this time and again with, like, football recruits. It could be a rap lyric. It could be a Beyonce song. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything in the world. It could be about a boyfriend, a girlfriend. It could be about a best friend. It could be about a parent. It could be about anything in the entire world. And I'm sure it's probably about Baylor to an extent and Baylor basketball. But, I mean, yeah, I've never gotten much out of trying to read between the lines on tweets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. And Brian and Ashley have done a pretty good job. They're really good about these coaching searches. Colt as well. I've tossed in a couple of things, and Paul had your five yesterday at 5:55, and like 10 million people wanted to know what was in it. I'm not joking. There was like 2,700 people that looked at it or watched it or viewed it. And I don't know, but I do know this, is that I do know that Baylor has reached out to former players. And Mack Rhodes will join us at 4:20. He's not going to tell us who his hit list is, but I do know that they are reaching out to former players and saying, okay, paint the picture of who you think Baylor needs as their next head coach. Whether they talk to Lauren Cox or Nina Davis or anyone, Dee Dee Richards or who, I don't know, but that is going to be part of the process. And you go, well, why would they? Of course, those are the ones that understand the guts of the program as much as anybody else. And so that's part of it as well. I'm looking forward to hearing from Mack. One question, there's a couple I have. And we'll ask him that today at 4:20. Now, it's turn the page, right?
Yep.
Turn the page. Yesterday was all about Kim and down in Baton Rouge. While we discussed with you your thoughts, your comments, your reaction, but Craig turned the page. Spring football just ended, and now it's about the coaching search.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as she put out that graphic for LSU, I was over it. I mean, I still understood that there were a lot of people that weren't going to be, and for some, I'm sure they're probably still not over it here a couple of days later. Some who were maybe like those diehards that traveled for 21 years with Kim and company may never get over it. And, to each their own. But for me, like, as soon as, I'm the type of person that as soon as you, leave that bridge and I don't think the bridge was burned, but maybe charred a little bit. But as soon as that drawbridge closes, I'm on to the next thing. So as soon as she took that LSU job, okay, great. Wish her the best, but I don't really care what she does from now on. I really don't. She could go 0-100, 100-0. Doesn't matter to me at all because I cover Baylor. So, yeah, I'm all in on the coaching search, and whatever the next head coach is going to bring to the table, that's what I think a lot of people should be focused on. I had a lot of people tweeting, somebody had a really good tweet last night, and they said, remember Mulkey cried when first taking the job here in Waco, leaving the state of Louisiana. She gained strength, gave us one hell of a 21-year run. Blessed for Mulkey, and I know what home feels like, so I'm happy for her. And that's kind of how I feel. This is obviously, as we said yesterday, being home mattered a lot to her. It did. Now, was it such a pull that no matter what Baylor did, she was going to leave? I don't know. Kind of feels like it, really. But I don't know. She's home. She seems to be happy. And you know what? Baylor fans will hopefully be happy with the next head coach.
When a coach has left before, I've still kind of kept up with them. I know that we have to focus in on whoever Baylor hires and what they do, and also who they can keep on the roster, either those who are current or the recruits, the ones who signed, Miriam Dowda, or what Jordan Lewis decides to do.
And what I mean by that is I just don't care what she does. No. I'll follow what Kim Mulkey does. I'll keep track. I won't have a choice, really, because I'm sure I'll see it without even intending to, because of just all the fanfare that she's received. But, if she goes and wins national titles or she goes and never wins the SEC, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. It would matter if she was the head coach at Baylor, but she's not.
Yeah, she's not. By the way, one note tonight at the Getterman Stadium, but today at 4 o'clock, they will start in an hour. Top-ranked team in the country, and they are just crushing people. Oklahoma will be at Baylor in a Tuesday doubleheader, 4 o'clock. And then 6:30 as well. They've been trying to get that series in for quite some time.
2 weeks ago, Texas has a very good softball team. And, they'd gone and they basically, Chris Del Conte's basically just gone and taken the best coach available in every sport over the last year. You think about it, he takes the Oregon softball coach and the basketball coach and the football coach, right? But a couple weeks ago, Texas and OU played, and there's this big fanfare for it in the softball community, and that was not a close series at all. It wasn't. It was like blowout city. Yeah. They are a machine.
Yeah, they really are. They're incredibly dominant. This note came down from Bruce Feldman about an hour ago. Randy Clements out at Ole Miss as the offensive line coach, and there's obviously, I like Randy. I don't know what he did or what happened or why he's out. It does seem to be. There's probably maybe a prong or two or three here. Either something occurred or Mack Rhodes has told us, and I'm not trying to attach this to Randy Clements, but you have to think, the NCAA thing's coming down. I've never heard Randy's name attached to anything negative at Baylor other than the fact that he was on the staff that everybody wanted to torch. But I did speak with somebody at Ole Miss that I know, and there's supposed to be a press release or a statement out with Lane Kiffin. I don't know what happened. I like Randy a great deal. So I hope everything's okay with him, but he's out. No longer. Jeff Levy's still there at Ole Miss.
I'll just give you the simplest explanation. Lane Kiffin goes through assistant coaches more than the three of us go through underwear. He just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So is
that your Edo impression, kind of?
Yeah. He does not. As soon as you cross him or it's just not working for him anymore, he went through at Florida at FAU where he came from. I think he was there for 4 years. He went through 4 offensive coordinators, and 2 of them weren't getting promoted. And one of those was Kendall Briles. So he goes through them pretty fast.
All right, now a couple of things, and Paula just mentioned this. Let's talk about prospective coaches. We mentioned some of them, and there's something up on the premium site. But before I go to that, because I don't want to take away from the premium site, we have mentioned the name of Joni Taylor at Georgia, and I've given you feedback on a couple of what the one of the incoming players has thought about her. Paul had his 5 at 555. You had the coach at Grand Canyon. Don't forget about the possibility of maybe contacting Corey Close, who's at UCLA. Jaden Owens is on the roster. She transferred in from UCLA. And then here's a sleeper. Mark Kellogg at Stephen F. Austin, who just took them to their first Southland Conference championship. I know that none of these names may scratch your itch, but it's not your itch that needs to be scratched. It's who the players are and who the recruits are and who the players are on the current team. And yes, some of them might. And then, of course, Bill Brock and Satia Messer will get their opportunity to have Mack Rhodes and listen and give him their pitch of why they should be the next head coach of Baylor and women's basketball. And we'll get to Mack. We're gonna ask him about a lot of things. I want him to explain how does a Hall of Fame coach walk out the door? What happened? What really happened? What really is the truth about the arena, the court being named, or other demands? Do you care? Do you want to support? Are you going to support women's basketball less? These are questions you've had, and some of you just thrown out there because you're angry or you're excited one way or the other. We'll have him to answer those today at 420.
One note on Randy Clements was, and I think you kind of said it, but that Ole Miss fan base is in shock. They were not expecting this, and it was in the first report, it said terminated. Like it was a full-blown firing. So a couple comments are like, man, this doesn't sound good. And I'm curious to know. I know I was just talking about like Mulkey's results. I mean, I'll see what she does in the future, but her results don't necessarily matter to me. But, we have kept track of those former guys, and that's a very interesting story. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to Mack Rhodes, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to hearing from him.
254-339-1122. Phone lines are open. Some of you have already hit us up on Twitter. The 903 from Marshall.
Shout out to the Mavericks.
How about the Big 12 tennis title? The Marshall Mavericks? No, this is named Marshall.
Oh, I thought it was
I don't
from
think
Marshall.
there needs to be I don't think that, well, I'm sorry, that's an early. How about the Big 12 tennis title? We had Michael Woodson on. Could Nalissa mean despite adversity in year 4, she'll overcome, makes it sound like she's staying? It also could mean she perseveres elsewhere, and that's just a stretch to me that I'm saying that. Daniel, Paul, great job. You might have missed it. Mark Kellogg is who I mentioned, who's the head coach at SFA. I don't know much about that as all. 254-339-1122.
And that's the thing about those tweets. Like I just said, she could mean that. She could mean something else. She could mean something that has nothing to do with basketball. And that's why it's just kind of running in circles to try to decipher.
And also, Sean Lee had a press conference today along with the Cowboys pre-press draft conference. Jerry Stephen and Mike McCarthy. Jerry did say, one of the things that's been the biggest challenge for everybody, not just them, everybody, all teams, is the shortcoming with the limitations of COVID and being under and really get medical reviews.
Yeah.
That's what the combine is, more than if a guy runs faster than Rich Eisen. The combine is all about drills, but it's all about the medical ability.
And your doctor,
yes,
that you like telling you what you want. So because they don't just walk into a room with one guy like, all right, this is the orthopedist, this is the cardiologist.
Yes,
they go in and they have that, but then they like when you have a meeting with a team, your team reviews that stuff and checks you out. And it's okay if the Cowboys really like Patrick Surtain Jr., then they're not just going to take this doctor said he's fine. Yeah. They're gonna get their own opinion.
Some of the other thoughts, you'll get Aranda and Jared Butler. LSU got Mulkey. I love that. Don't forget now, Siaka Ika. And then also Eddie Middlebrook. I'm good with the trade. The Bayou trade can't put a price on a men's basketball championship.
And Justin Johnson and Dennis Johnson.
Yeah,
there's a lot more than just Aranda and one other.
All right, 254-339-1122, the number to call. Paul Catalina, David Smoak, and Craig Smoak. We're on until 6. Mack Rhodes joins us today at 420.
All right, T-Rex, you're on SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, guys. Your favorite dinosaur. Y'all still talking about that old news? We had so much more that's happened since that press conference. I mean, heck, our men's tennis team won their second Big 12 title this year. In my opinion, that's more prevalent news to Baylor athletics because we're moving forward. We're not taking a step back. We're not looking backwards anymore. This ain't the old days. This is the future. This is the now. The future's now. This is a athletic program across the board built some success and winning. We can honor the past, but it's time to move forward, Baylor Nation. I know y'all aren't harping. Y'all are doing y'all's job. I know y'all got to report on things, but I just need every Baylor fan listening to realize that eventually you got to wipe the tears away and worry about the future. The quicker you learn that lesson in life, the quicker you're going to have a happier life. The sky still hasn't fallen, like I told the guys this morning on that tempo. Maybe a little gloomy up here in DFW, but I don't think the sky's falling. So let's just keep moving forward. I'm excited to hear what y'all ask Mack. Please, if you have the chance, Smokey, ask him if he's ever going to take that interim tag off our championship-winning Michael Woodson. I know
we
you
did
asked him that before.
We asked him that before. We'll let that take. There's no question in my mind. I don't even think we have to ask him that anymore. That's going to happen. I can just pretty much tell you.
I believe it. A lot of people are mad at Mack about Kim Mulkey letting her go or whatever you want to say. But if that interim tag doesn't come off after we win a national championship this season in tennis, I'll be knocking on Mack Rhodes' door because that's what I care about.
Okay.
So I never even played tennis. I don't know why I care so much, but I do.
All right.
It's in the vein.
All right.
Anyways, guys, y'all have a good Tuesday. Y'all might hear from me maybe once or twice more here the rest of this week, and then y'all won't hear from me for about a week. I'll be on the beach drunk in Mexico. I'll try to listen online, but I'm not going to get a long-distance phone call. I don't love y'all that much.
Well, you're about to get married. Enjoy the week. Good luck. Thanks for your time, T-Rex. We appreciate you very much. T-Rex, he always tries to set the tone. 254-339-1122. JJ Joe today at 3:30. We'll be interested in that. And all of a sudden, yesterday or late evening yesterday, the Dave Aranda interview really started getting much more, I guess you could say, feedback. The lengthy interview from yesterday, a lot of people now kind of jumping in on that about what they heard, what they think they heard. And there are some that I thought, and again, I was in the room, that, yeah, on occasion he can kind of meander in certain ways because he's so deep thinking, and I'm not. But I thought that he kind of maybe unveiled part of himself in a few things yesterday. And I think that's what most people thought. I get this, just like I even asked him the question that I don't know how he can, fire anybody up or whatever. I see that. I asked him the question, and I think people get so caught up in personalities of how a coach, do they scream? Do they grab your face mask? Do they rant and rave? He's not going to do that. If he gets fired by not doing that, he gets fired. That's who he's not going to change for you or what you want. He's going to be who he is, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
People get really they really romanticize the fact that they got yelled at when they were in Pop Warner in high school, and that's the coach that fired him up. But, sometimes the coaches that you want to play for the most are the ones that didn't. My senior year, my high school head coach was not a yeller. Like, he would occasionally scream something across the field, but I respected him so much that I wanted him to win.
You know what got my attention? When somebody said without screaming, you disappointed me.
Yeah.
Or gave you that look. Aranda mentioned that yesterday. What he said. When he's been in a place more than a little bit, players he can give them a look. And that look is like maybe 50 words. It is the high of how screams or whatever. That look is all he has to do, and the players now communicate with
We've
that.
talked about this before, but I would love to see a Venn diagram of our listeners who are old Tom Landry fans, but also will say, well, Dave Aranda doesn't yell enough, and I bet you that overlaps enough. Tom Landry, we've had, almost every living old cowboy that you would want to hear from on this program.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Yeah, we've had them all on the show. And if I asked them to a man, how many times did you hear Tom Landry yell in your 5, 10, 12 years, 15 years of the Cowboys, that have been like, I don't know, twice?
Yeah.
And one of them might have been like, hey, come over here.
But does that mean he didn't care? Does that mean he didn't have a fire? And I think that, I sometimes wish I was more like that than I am. I'm a raving lunatic. And very outward spoken. And sometimes you throw words out, you say something, you wish you had a fishing hook, like, whoa, bring it back. That's who I am. Everyone's different. Craig's very laid back, but I know he has a fire that burns, and you can hear it. He has that forked tongue at times. He can fire off some opinions, but he just doesn't do it the same. We're different. That's how you are. And Paul's different than all of us. So That's the way it is. All right, coming up, JJ Joe in a moment. I want to do this first, though. I want this to be something we discuss, or at least remember. So the spring game was Saturday, and Dave Aranda invited coaches to come in and be like the guest play caller. I want everyone to remember that the men's basketball team won a national title 3 weeks ago. Was it 3 weeks ago last night, whenever it was, and hammered Gonzaga. And the way they played and how much joy they brought, and that's their word. But this is, to me, during so much, with all what's going on, the changes, whatever. Here, to me, is what also is important. This is Scott Drew and Jerome Tang with Dave Aranda just parts of the game as well.
He's got the defensive call.
Well, he's talking offense.
Or is he doing the offense?
It doesn't matter. You're the head coach.
Well, we work in tandem. So, hey, why don't you do the defensive play, the first one, and then second half you can do the offensive one.
Congrats, man.
I appreciate you.
Now, he was talking trash at practice about Coach Drew thinks I'm going to do this.
Yeah, well, I told Coach Aranda, I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. All right. So, hey, one of two things happen: we scoring, or they sacking us, or getting a turnover. One of the two is happening. I'm just telling you. They're going to be.
All right. I want you to. Did you hear what he said when Dennis Polian? That's Dennis Polian. Said something about, why don't you go first? You're the head coach. And Scott Drew said, we work in tandem. He didn't miss a beat. He didn't blink. Mm-hmm. That wasn't like, okay, the camera's rolling, let me make sure everyone thinks. That's exactly how he feels. We work in tandem, the way those two together. Yeah. And I've even seen some chatter. How about Jerome Tang as the women's basketball coach? There was a couple of nibbles. The UTEP job, there was some nibbles for him during the offseason. You know why he didn't get a job as a head coach probably? Because Baylor played all the way until the early part of April, and some people could not wait that long. But I've even seen the Jerome Tang as women's basketball coach. But those guys are so in tune together, it's incredible.
Yeah. By the way, saw Coach Drew and Coach Tang afterwards, and I asked Coach Drew about that, where he said, we're going to score, they're going to blitz. And I think Coach Drew overplayed his hand a little bit because Ron Roberts told Jerome Tang exactly what to call, and it was disastrous. Of course, Jerome Tang had the better – look, we said it. The thing is the defense is ahead of the offense. Jerome Tang drew the longer straw on that one. He was probably gonna win that either way.
Yeah, and I saw him. You could hear him even at the stadium. They had the windows open. Initially, I don't think they were, and then Taylor Bryan opened it up because it was such a pretty day. You could feel they had a great time. It was just fun. It was so much fun to see those two and how much fun they had as well. And I think that says a lot about them, that you're the head coach. No, we work in tandem. That's something I think we need to hear, or maybe you need to hear as well. Everyone can take that differently as well. I'm waiting to see if I can get that Ole Miss press release on Randy Clements, and when we do, we'll try to get that to you. I got a couple of interesting stories. Craig, tell me if you've got today's off the radar. Do you have either one of these stories?
No.
Bob Simpson. Baylor alum. Now, he's been, kind of grouchy and a little bit under the radar ever since about 2016 or so.
I was going to say, I've never even heard the name practically, or definitely haven't seen the guy in pretty much the entire time I've been here.
Yeah, he's part of the founder suites at McClain Stadium. I've talked to Bob, and, he was very much available when I would call him back in the year they lost to Central Florida and all the stuff was swirling about Texas and Art Briles. A piece of copper that was struck by the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia in 1794 was a prototype for the fledgling nation's money, auctioned off at $840,000. Heritage Auctions, Eric Bradley, the spokesperson, said no stars flowing hair dollar opened at $312,000 when it was put up on Friday evening. Less than a minute and intense bidding later, it went for $840,000. It was owned by Rangers coach Sherman and Baylor alum Bob Simpson.
Oh, I'm glad he can finally make ends meet.
Yeah, no kidding.
Golly.
There were some stars missing from the coin. Now, Simpson, they kind of thought maybe it would go for $350,000 to $500,000. He keeps coins. He said, I think coins should be appreciated almost as artwork. I've gotten more than enough joy from them. So imagine a guy who has a lot, and that's why you can also buy things and then sell things. $840,000 for a coin.
Yeah, a lot of people spending big money on really strange things nowadays, which I think you're going to get to in just a moment. But yeah, I mean, he was a former owner of the coin, I guess is what that said. But must be. I mean, I got a few baseball cards that I got in a pack for like 35 cents, 20 years ago. I don't have anything that's, millionaire. Like I've got a special rare coin or, anything like that. But boy, I wish I did in hearing that price tag.
Also, this story. Golden State becomes the first pro team to launch an NFT collection. It's a non-fungible token.
Yeah.
On the OpenSea platform. That was earlier today. This is the wave of the future, said their president, Brandon Schneider. So we've been studying what's the best way to get involved. What the hell is this? I know we've talked about this.
Stupidest thing
is this
in the world.
The imaging?
Yeah.
The digital imaging?
It's like the digital image where you own the photo or the GIF or the, whatever. But it doesn't prevent anybody from just copying and pasting it on any website they want to or on Twitter. It's just that deep down you own the original. And I guess if that original is wanted by anybody for some reason, then you would technically have the copyright to it, the ownership. And so you could somehow, I don't know how that would work and how a company would have the desire for NFT for usage to then pay you for it. But I know it's the wave of the future, but I feel like a lot of this wave is the people who want it to be the wave of the future, propping it up to be the wave of the future. It's a bunch of people who are heavily involved or trying to get on the ground floor that are pumping this NFT collecting up like it's the next greatest thing. And I understand it to an extent. And from what I understand, I just think it's dumb. I think it's the biggest waste of money. No.
It's non-fungible.
It's not. It's on your computer, basically.
Can't touch it.
It's like a file you've got the original file. And so if it's used, then you can track where that file's gone. And I guess you could sue or whatever if somebody uses it illegally. I don't know why anyone would want to use it, quite frankly. But I mean, just the prices these are going for, I don't get it, man. I do
there's
not
a
get
lot
it.
of money out there, and I think a lot of it might be not millions, but a lot of it might be from these COVID, these checks that have been sent out, and people. That's how but Brent Bankston talked about that. But
not really though, because I mean, people have probably gotten let's say $5,000 from the government, and I don't think they're spending it on NFTs, and I don't think that would even afford most NFTs.
Since launching last fall in a break in JJ Joe in collaboration with Dapper Labs, the NBA has raked in an estimated $500 million in sales from Top Shot. That's where I've heard this from Top Shot. It's an image. It's a digital image. I don't know. It's hard enough for me to just...
But not really, though, because it could still be... I think it's an incredible waste of money. I mean, maybe it's the wave of the future, and when we turn into like Star Trek... then maybe those things are super valuable. I just think it's the biggest waste of money.
There's a Michigan blog, got this from Girl Friday, that has mentioned one of the other names that might be supposedly a candidate. I don't know if this is true or not. Former Baylor assistant, former Michigan assistant, and now current SMU coach Toya Wilson. The way she left Baylor was weird. Not sure that with her relationship with Kim was great. But she's moved up the ladder. She's now the head coach at SMU. That's another name to at least throw into the mix. And we'll, of course, have Mack today at 4:20.
Yeah, I thought of her initially, but I just didn't think that there was a relationship
it'd be interesting. But again, Mack's working on this, and
she was in my top 5 yesterday. She was in my top 5 yesterday.
Toyo?
Oh, Toyo, I thought you were talking about the Michigan candidate.
No, not the Michigan coach, because we mentioned, and Kim always talked about her. All right, coming up next, JJ Joe. What did he see from Chapin, Bohannon, Zeno, Drones, and others? What are his thoughts after spring drills with Baylor football? Mack Rhodes at 4:20. This is SicEm365 Radio. Don Humidor, Coffee Beans, CBD in the Town West Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco. Artua Fuente in Ashton. Cohiba, Christoph, La Fontana, that's kind of, to me, it's a pretty big name of a cigar brand, but at the same time, it doesn't get a lot of play. It should, because it's a very smooth cigar. It's a Churchill length, but a little bit thinner than a regular Churchill cigar. Macanudo, Monte Cristo, My Father, Padron, Punch. That's always that almost that square cigar. Romeo and Julieta, and so many more. That's what you get with the 48-foot walk-in humidor, Don's Humidor in the Town West Shopping Center. And if you want CBD products, if in fact you have at times issues falling asleep when it's time to go to bed, time to get to sleep, and you toss and turn, it's not because you're about to, like, my God, I got to sleep. You need to fall asleep. It's kind of part of the time, and you just struggle at times going straight to sleep. CBD products like Vita Dreams can help you out, and the assortment flavors, and also even the aroma of fresh coffee beans. Carol and Ashley Smokey sent you. Again, you have cigars, coffee beans. You have all the products for your cigars, the cutters, the lighters, the humidors, and more in the Town West Shopping Center of Valley Mills in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
SicEm365 Radio. Mack Rhodes today at 4:20. We'll have JJ Joe momentarily. Also, David Hellman at 5, John McClain 5:30, and a few other nuggets along the way. On the Dave Aranda interview from yesterday, up in the premium section, some of the responses, I found amazing the discussion on being as a slow, deep thinker. It acknowledges that anomaly in the coaching profession, something he actively works through in his interactions. It's tied nicely back to the beginning where he talked about last year and how he's fine-tuned his interactions with the coaching staff. From another, I flat out love the portion about anger and losing his temper. I asked him the same question I asked Grant Taff, and he doesn't do that either. He goes, not only do I agree with everything he said, but I also think it was a tremendous window in how he thinks. Love the transparency on the struggles with last year, admitting that he couldn't really say anything because he hadn't earned the trust yet, and he saw the worst in some, including coaches. With that said, man, he's hard to follow sometimes, meanders a little bit. We're spoiled with what Matt used to say and how he said it, measured, and seemed to be, he always is trying to find the right words. Also from yet another one. Aranda's a different dude. How can he get anyone fired up to do anything is beyond me. I think he has hired just the right people, though, around him. And sometimes that's the key to a staff. And then one more note. You must not have played team sports. Coaches don't breathe fire and brimstone every day. Players need to be self-motivated and part of the culture in response to the fact that he's kind of the, how do you get fired up with it? That is what gives them energy, not fiery personality from their coach. Now joined by JJ Joe, Baylor. Oh, we don't.
I've left him a message a couple times.
Yeah, he's never been late.
Yeah, he's usually a one ring and hello.
Yeah, all right.
John Joe.
From Steven. I figure it's about time for JJ Joe. He was trying to get in, but Paul doesn't like Steven.
Oh, that's not true.
On the phone line.
It's untrue. We couldn't keep it connected, so we're working through an issue over there.
Okay, trying to get that done. 254-339-1122 is the number to call. Also, from the YouTube line. Yeah, when I mentioned Tang and UTEP, one of the responses from Random Tees was that he turned that job down. It's kind of a story there, but I think Jerome's glad that thing fell through. Also, yeah, that's a job you want for no more than 3 years, then get out. Didn't realize Joe Golding took that job. Bizarre move, seems like a downgrade. Also, the Jerome Tang, Baylor should hire Tang as the women's coach. Would be the first respectable coach Baylor's ever had. Oh, we're going to get into bump now, huh? And also,
I don't know if they were joking. We don't know.
It would be awful for listen. The Jerome Tang women's basketball is just something people have said because they like Jerome Tang, respect him, and know that he would keep that thing together. Jerome Tang's going to be a Division I coach at some point, but right now I'm damn glad he's part of Scott Drew's staff, and I hope he never moves on unless it's for an opportunity that is great for him as well.
Oh, it's drum corps collection. Wonder where that came from. Wonder what area of the country or state that emanated from.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching as well. Boy, I tell you what, you know what's interesting to watch is the emotions. All right, so Mike Scarborough sent me a note this morning, and Mike's going to be listening to us, I think, some of the day today. He asked me about, so what was the fallout as bad as you thought?
I didn't think there was any fallout, really.
I think there was a little bit of scattered, maybe a little bit of what's going on maybe for 3 or 4 days. I didn't really tend to get any of that.
I saw Brian Davis from the Statesman try to make some snow. It's okay, Baylor fans. Treat Kim Mulkey kindly on the way out. Like, he almost like trying to make it sound as though Baylor fans were losing their minds. And look, I saw a handful of people, but if you look at those handful of people, they pretty much act extremely about everything, you know, and for the most part, I felt like there wasn't so much backlash as it was just confusion, because the whole thing, if you really think about it, doesn't make too much sense as out of the blue as it was. So then once you settle down and you realize, you hear a press conference and you hear all the connections and everything, then it starts to make sense. And I think people have settled down, and just since she talked yesterday, but fallout, I don't really think there was much of that. I think it was actually pretty tame in comparison to what people want to paint it as.
How about this from Doyle? Hello, David. I'd like to make a contribution to the documentary film project in excess of $500.
Oh, wow.
Can you ask someone to contact me? We maybe have already called you. Thank you very much, Doyle. We'll be in touch, and that means a great deal. That project continues. We had Chris Charles Scott in the studio last week on the documentary, and man, Doyle, thank you. I'll make sure Colton, Brian, and Ashley get a hold of you.
By the way, I was talking to somebody on the phone last night that asked me about if anybody called in, hot and bothered about Cam, and I said, no, not really. And he said, well, you guys are on a medium now that the people who are really hot and bothered aren't using.
So, you mean You mean like an app?
The app, yeah. So
we've had some. It's not like there hasn't been.
Wait, say that again?
That we're on our delivery system, since we're on the internet, is not what the people who would really be the maddest about Kim. They're in an age group that does not use the medium we're on.
I understand now.
I get that. Yeah.
I mean, to an extent, but I really still I don't think it has been really that. I mean, outside of the initial just shock, I think that's really what it was. And then once people, I mean, you don't even even the fire Mack Rhodes guy, because that's really what it was. It was like a guy who was hashtagging the same thing about Mack Rhodes over and over again with little to no support behind the tweets. It was just like he was going to everybody's and just hashtagging the same thing to no response. And even like what little bit of that there was, that's pretty much gone. Now, depending on what Mac says this afternoon, maybe that spikes back up. But, yeah, I don't think it's been that big of a deal.
Speaking of the Aranda interview, this is from Bear N on the board. Matt Rule was a top 40 classic rock radio mix, Boston Journey. Great hooks can get you in 0 to 60 seconds, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Art Briles, country music royalty, George Jones, Willie Nelson, all heart, fantastic one-liners. Dave Aranda, greatest jazz improv. Miles Davis, John Coltrane. Can't always predict what will happen next. Always will give you something different to think about. Enjoy the journey. They're all different, and it's all different. It's all great.
I wonder what Matt Rule would think of being compared to.
I'm going to send him that right now.
Boston and Journey.
I'm going to send him that right now.
I mean, like Art. I can tell you, Art will like that. He would probably go for that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That or what's that musician that he really liked?
He liked Amos Lee.
That's who I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But Amos Lee's mellow. Amos Lee to me would be more of a Aranda type guy.
Yeah.
And I don't
know, Briles was pretty mellow.
Yeah,
I mean, he really was. He was not like, he was gung-ho on the field, but he was pretty dang mellow and country off the
Hey, let's do this.
Let's break.
Right
Let's break here, and then we'll try to see if we can track down JJ Joe, because absolutely a reason we had him on is to talk about the quarterback's post-spring drill, SicEm365 Radio. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, metal buildings, metal roofing, pipe and steel. They can design it, and they can build it, and they can help you along the way with the building design, trim and color options, panel options, building components, and a gallery of the metal buildings that they've been a part of. Also, the metal roofing, quality protection every day. They have a gallery of the metal roofing they've done along the way. And pipe and steel, structural standard, they set it. Structural pipe and steel, purlin, tubing, beams, and weld plates, and also H-braces and fence posts, along with culverts, gates, sheet, and expanded metal. 1943. Every time I say that, I stress it because it's amazing. That's when they've been in business ever since they opened the doors in 1943. 2 locations in Waco and Bryan, wherever you're listening from, and they're open on Saturdays from 8 until noon if you can't get by there sometime during the week. The one thing I know is that when you walk into their business, you will feel as if, not that you're the only one in the building, but you feel like maybe you're the only one right now that is a matter. And you see other customers, but you feel as if that one person, that's all that matters. And that's the way it's supposed to be, because when you sit there and you stress, and it's not just a slogan about customer service, and when you survive since 1943 with all the big box stores that come in, you better have both the product and great customer service for enough that people go buy something and then they want to come back and come back and come back, and you can. At Pioneer Steel and Pipe, and they're working on that new facility. It's going to take some time. They're going to have that available at some point too, but they will never lose what is the core of that customer service and great product. In Waco and Bryan, pioneerboys.com.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man
too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy, last name Barbecue.
It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's Tasty Oak Smoked Barbecue.
Next in line.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
We'll track down JJ Joe. We do have some openings on a couple of other places in the show. We'll try to find out we'll get him. I can't wait to talk to him. So yesterday, this was news we didn't get to. Ron Chapman, legendary North Texas, Dallas, and Fort Worth radio talk show host, passed away at the age of 85. I met him one time. It was very intimidating. Not that he meant to be, but he was a legend. You know, we had Rush Limbaugh pass away. Now Ron Chapman began his career. He graduated from high school in Massachusetts in 1953. 1953. He was a part of the Armed Forces Radio in Korea. He was 85 years old, moved to Texas, started his career in Dallas in 1959, the year I was born. I mean, he was it. He was absolutely it. He was popular in Dallas, 70s, 80s, 90s. He was at KVIL for many, many years. Ron Chapman died at the age of 85. Some people who listen to radio in the Dallas area may remember him. Also, a couple of text messages from Stephen. The point I wanted to make on the call, but Paul doesn't like me. I love the coaches we have. Aranda, Drew, I personally love the way we win more than the actual winning itself. Winning with joy. Stephen, thank you very much. I'm sorry that Paul has blocked your number. Also,
Untrue.
Huh?
Untrue.
Well, he got in all the time last week with us, right, Craig? Stephen?
Yeah, we talked
How
quite a bit
about the
last
text right before it? Smokey trying to lie about Paul on his second day back. Does he not know I'm in charge of the Army? So there we go. Stephen Vaughn, number one.
All right, Stephen, I'll remember that. And also from Scotty B, Kim Mulkey now joins Baylor coach Steve Smith, former coach Mickey Sullivan, former tennis coach Matt Knoll, and former football coach Grant Taff on being at Baylor and then leaving for whatever reason.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know of any there's no one who's been here forever.
Yeah, I know.
Does anybody not leave for a reason? I mean, I get what you're saying. Maybe you're saying the whatever reason as though it's like cloudy, and did all those people leave under cloudy conditions?
Steve Smith, the baseball coach, who took him to a World Series, he was a really good baseball coach. He and Ian, and he did an interview with me, if you remember, Paul. Mm-hmm. He and Ian didn't get along. And you know what? Pretty soon after that, he was gone, and now he, of course, has been coaching ever since. I like Steve Smith. But you know, he had kind of a – I'd love to have known what he thought about someone going to LSU.
I don't think you do.
No, I do. I do.
But, I mean, look, they're all different circles. Look, there's no cloud of mystery around Coach Taff. He's been very candid about it. Baylor at the time was not even close to keeping up with the facilities. And, you know, he was at a point in his career where, look, I want to be in a place where it's going to be easier to win without having to jump through all these hoops.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, he goes in his weight room, they have like 2 Nautilus machines and a treadmill. And then, you know, he sees Texas and A&M and all these other schools in the Southwest Conference, you know, putting in these ridiculous weight rooms and fitness centers, and they had 2 Nautilus machines. So he knew what was going to happen, and, you know, kind of told him to do this. And they said, well, you know, we don't really want to do that right now. And
when I sat down with him last week and asked him about it, you know, about the way that went down, we had Pete Fredenberg on, remember, Craig? And he's still stung by the fact he didn't get that opportunity to continue on as the head coach at Baylor. It hurt him. He went to LSU. It hurt him. So
yeah, I mean, I guess to the point of the text there, I mean, yeah, like there's just weird ways that people have exited it, I guess. I mean, I don't think Mulkey's is some great mystery. I think we pretty much put it all out there. Now, I'm sure there's parts of it that are going to be between the two parties that were involved, right? Baylor and Team Mulkey or whatever. But, I mean, I think it's pretty clear what happened. Not everything was perfect at Baylor. Louisiana is home, and LSU came calling, and, you know, whether you want to believe that they were the only school that could have pulled her away or not, I mean, who knows? I think there is some truth to that, and, you know, it is what it is. But, yeah, just, you know, better hire a good coach the next time. That's really all you can do.
It's all you can do. Also, one of the things that we have coming up this week, by the way, is the NFL draft. Craig has put together his mock draft. He loves them.
I'm tired of them, man. I'm so tired of seeing mock drafts. Chris Sims put out one that's just been getting roasted all day long today because I guess it's just so bad. But, you know, the mock draft thing, that's a category of like sports media that's just been so big for so long now, and I'm just over it. I'm over the mock draft because 99% of them are meaningless, and it's just filler for like the 3 months between the end of the season and the draft, basically.
David Hellman told me one time when I asked him about doing it, he goes, it's a good thought exercise for people who do it.
Yeah.
But he said that anybody who puts weight behind, if you did a mock draft and you're like, this is it, I'm the guy, I've got a 32 for 32, baby.
Right.
You don't mess with me, like that person's got a problem.
Rick Gosselin was great, and he hasn't done one, and he even told us that a few weeks back. He hadn't done one in years. He was fantastic at it.
Well, and
I think now you just have people that do them.
But he only did.
I wonder how much do they take it off of what other people are doing.
Well, that's the thing, because then you see these people, they've got like version 6, and I'm not, you know, that's not hyperbole. Like there's people who have like 10 different versions before the draft that they change every week or every 2 weeks, and I just think that that's BS. Basically, it's not a real, you know, thorough look into the draft. That's just commenting on what the latest rumor is and then switching it up. And it's not hard to peg who the top guys are. We know who the top guys are. I mean, I could put together I just think I think there's too many of them. I think it was a novelty that was kind of cool when Rick Gosselin did it. And now it's turned into just everybody has one, so it's kind of defeated the purpose of it being all that special. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying.
When Rick did his, it was Sunday in the Sunday paper the week before the draft.
Yes,
that's when it was.
Boom,
He didn't do 7 versions of it.
He did do one 5 months ago.
Yeah, he did. He did that one, and he spent a lot of time on it, and so that way, that's the reason. Like, I guess he had one time where he had like 7 picks in a row, and it was like, holy cow, Rick just nailed this, But that's hard to do because, again, especially this year, with the way that quarterbacks are now valued at a level, it's hard to see, if the first 3 teams are going to take quarterbacks and there's 6 teams that need quarterbacks, well, then the next 3, I don't know. I mean, are those picks going to go the same way if those teams don't need quarterbacks, or are they going to get traded? It's a Wild West now. And so I don't know if I'd even want to do one and try to wrap my head around what the Falcons might do it for, given the fact that 3 quarterbacks are going to go off the board, 1, 2, 3, and then after that, the Falcons could hold every other team for ransom that wants a QB.
Yeah, and I mean, there's guys like Dane Brugler, they do like the full 7-round mocks, which I think is insane, and that's pretty impressive. But yeah, I just think it's become too flooded, the mock draft, to where it's just noise, basically. You know what I mean? And it used to be kind of a tool you could, like if Rick Gosselin dropped his right before the draft, you're like, okay, this is how people are thinking. But, it's also a different time. There's so many websites, so many shows, so many accounts, so many everything. So it's not a surprise there's so many mock drafts. It's just, I'm ready for the actual draft, not what like Joe from New York has to say on it.
I don't think even an NFL personnel person or even some of the guys who manage the rosters can do a mock draft. You just never know.
Well, Steelers talked yesterday about how they don't like put together a mock draft or thing like that. They basically line up all the players that they want and then they go in order. And when their turn comes around, hey, who's our next available player that we wanted? And maybe sometimes it's not as clear-cut as that, but they outlined a pretty clear-cut strategy of, like, you just have your list of guys. You're not watching ESPN to get Todd McShay's input or Mel Kiper's or whatever. They already know who they want. They put them on a list, and, they go through that list as the picks fall off the board. But we do like to make it, like, super dramatic and interesting. And I'll tell you, the craziest mock drafts are the ones that predict trades. Like, that's when you're going to a whole new level, is when you're trying to predict trades in the mocks. And there's some of them that get them right. I mean, I'm not saying they're not impressive. It's just, like I said, a lot of them. That's all.
3:57 coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Mack Rhodes at 4:20. We'll try to circle. It's hard to catch J.J. Joe when he's scrambling, so we'll try to do that as well. By the way, Paula telling us that a couple of times promotional commercial keeps breaking in during your conversation. So we're trying to happen it again and again.
Yeah, we're having some issues with the app right now. YouTube and all streaming is fine, but the app we're having issues.
All right, the app is a problem. Paula, thank you very much. And also, if you go to the YouTube channel, which has become my favorite because I love all these comments, 254-339-1122 is the text line. The YouTube has a chat as well. Also, Ryan, Max seems to like surprises. Perhaps he hires someone we haven't even talked about. By the way, no question. Jerry, your statement that LSU came calling contradicts what the previous guy on the show before you said. His sources said Mulkey called the AD, not the other way around, which is either correct. We are going to talk to Mack Rhodes today at 4:20. I know you're talking about Scott Woodward. This is SicEm365 Radio.
If you are looking to sell your home or buy a new one, of course, if you're probably buying a new home and you already own a home, you're probably doing both those things. You need to call my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team powered by EXP Realty. I saw Lance last week. He was in fine spirits. He had one of his Chiweenies with him, which is a Chihuahua and a weenie dog. Bred very, very cute, very spunky dog. Lance calls himself a local realtor with a unique perspective. And I can say that knowing Lance for as long as I have, that's very, very true. He's someone who kind of gets to know, he can get to know you a lot quicker than most people because he asks great questions. He asks good questions that he wants to know about you and your family and your life and what you really want in a dream home. And he's going to help you find that dream home. Just go to his website, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com, or give him a call at 254-214-3713. He'll show you the great listings he has, and he'll find what you're looking for. Believe me, he's going to go all out for you, and he's going to make you that great deal, get you a great price on the home you're trying to sell as well. So give him a call, 254-214-3713.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
It's the Jeep Celebration event going on now at Allen Samuels. You'll find special pricing on a new 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with total values up to $3,750 or 0% for 72 months. Also, check out the new 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Luxe with up to $5,000 in total values or 0% interest for 84 months. Allen Samuels, the best place to find your new Jeep. Located at 201 West Loop 340.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Here they go. It almost looked like Vital was in slow motion. He was in the air so long.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Here's a text entering the hour. JJ Joe coming up in a second. This is from the 682 from Jason in Fort Worth. I'm fascinated by Coach Aranda. Listening to him, it's clear he's a brilliant football mind. Watching the defense all but shut down Oklahoma last year, there's no doubt these players are buying into the leadership. There's more than one way to motivate a team. Time will tell, but I think he's going to have Baylor back in the top in the top of the Big 12 soon. Loved the interview yesterday. Thanks for Jason and your feedback in Fort Worth. We're now joined by former Baylor quarterback and also.
No, he said he was going to call me back. He has not done that yet.
And he just told me you didn't call him.
No, he said I'll call you when I text him. He said I'll call you back.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what I got right there. And I text him back, great, thanks.
All right, tell him to text you. Tell him to call you. Tell him to get to that. 254-339-1122. And also, I just had somebody text me trying to tell me I was wrong on the salary that Kim Mulkey made in 2019. It's public record that she made $2,997,866. I said she made $3 million. Okay, I was off by a couple of dollars. I'm not going to throw out that figure because I want to throw something against the wall that just maybe sticks. That's not what we do. And what difference does it make? She's getting $3 million at LSU. Good. Enjoy. But don't be that way. Please. I would not, if I didn't know the number, I wasn't going to make one up. And a lot of people have 2.2, 2.3, 2.5, 2.6. In 2019, they won a national championship. There's some bonus money involved too. So $2,997,866. Believe me, that is for public record, and I have seen the document because you can find it because it's public record. All right, J.J. Joe will join us momentarily. I'm still pumped up by Doyle, and his contribution to the documentary. Doyle, thank you so much for that. I've got a question, or I got a comment to J.J. Joe that he's going to be blown away by. It's going to make him feel good. Max at 420, so JJ here momentarily if we possibly can. You guys know what Eddie Lackey's become a bodybuilder.
Yes.
There's a picture that Phil Bennett sent me of him. He's like 180 pounds. I don't know if there's an ounce of fat anywhere located, even on his butt cheek.
No, and you know what he did? I saw some pictures today that after he did that competition, he went and had like gigantic pancakes and crazy wings and things like that.
After he did the bodybuilding.
After he did
Hell, I
it.
bet
that's what those guys typically do because they've been starving themselves. Like all they do is, typically, if it's like what I've seen before, like 24 hours before the weigh-in or whatever, you're just drinking water, or not even that. You're sweating it out. Like by the time he hits the stage and that picture we saw, I bet he was so dehydrated. And so when he gets done, bunch of water, automatically the muscles start to soften up, and that's why he dehydrates himself. Or those guys do that is to get all the lines and every tight piece of skin they can. Because they don't have any water, and then they go and they rehydrate, and then they go probably eat a bunch of pasta, and next thing you know, they put on 10 pounds in like a few hours because they had intentionally not been, feeding themselves like they normally would.
Armstrong, I'm going to send you this picture by email real quick, all right? I want you to put up this picture. We've had Eddie on the show. It is incredible. He played it. I'm going to look up what he played at. What do you think? Like 220, 215, 225?
Like 225 probably.
Yeah, I would say 225.
All right.
And he's not a tall guy. I mean, Eddie was, very much in the Detwin school of linebacking.
He played at 220.
Yeah.
His senior year is what it says. He was fantastic for Baylor. Unanimous All Big 12, made All Big 12 a couple of years. He was a great pickup. In fact, he was on their first Big 12 championship. Look at that picture of Eddie Lackey's body.
Yeah, he's super dehydrated right there. He's got the tanner on. That's a muscle competition staple is that tanner to make the muscles pop even more. So yeah, he looks to be in great shape. I've never been in shape like that, but I bet he's had some sugary snacks and things like that in the last couple of days.
The picture I saw on Instagram today was him.
There you go.
At a local restaurant here with all the pancakes.
Yeah, that's what exactly.
What's the most you could ever? How many pancakes could you eat at a setting?
I mean, how big are the pancakes?
Well, I mean, like
Bronx.
Yeah,
because then I'd probably have like
not
two.
the ones that are the size of a plate, but one where, probably, I don't know, four inches
like
or so.
5 or 6 probably.
I think I could. Butter and syrup. How many could you eat, Armstrong, in a setting? Pancakes.
It totally depends on the day, but on a good day, I could go through like 7 of them.
So on a good day. I love a good day is 7 pancakes.
Paul, how many would you go through?
3. I mean, I get full on that pretty quick. I love pancakes, but I'm not the kind of champion like that.
Pancakes are going to make you get full quickly because of what they're made out of, obviously. Yeah. But if you put enough butter that's melted and you put a little syrup, a little whatever syrup you want, you go through a couple, 3.
Steven says he could do over 10, no question, if he was hungry enough.
If you're hungry enough.
You think you could do 7 on a good day?
Yeah, if I'm hungry enough.
Okay.
Probably normally just like 3. Like sometimes I sit down and I just am just eating, and I don't get hungry. Like I don't get full.
You know those places where you go and let's say on the road at a really nice hotel and they've got the buffet and all that stuff. They cook omelets for you and waffles and whatever else. I don't even know if you had 7, would you have them stacked on each other at one time and gobble them without having to get like 2 more added to 3 and then 2 more, then there's 7?
No, I'd have to go in waves. Like 3, a stack of 3, and then like
Kobayashi and hot dogs.
What?
Isn't that the guy, Kobayashi?
Oh, Joey Chestnut.
Chestnut.
Oh, yeah, Joey Chestnut, yes.
Yeah. Kobayashi was
Joey
the
Chestnut
guy before him.
Joey Chestnut is another level. I mean,
and you know what's it doesn't make sense about stuffing the hot dogs in your mouth. They don't even taste good. They never really do. But when you put them in the buns or watery and all that, they don't even like taste good. If I'm going to eat something that much, it better taste good because it's coming back up somewhere.
How does it matter if it tastes if you're just shoving it down your mouth anyway?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not even it's not an enjoyment thing.
Right.
Wouldn't it help if it tasted okay?
If you guys want to watch something that really, so have you seen them do the chopped salad eating?
No.
So they have all these different kinds, and so one of them is chopped salad. How much chopped salad can you eat? And they essentially, I thought
wedge salad.
Like just, I mean, it's but it's not a wedge. It's like chopped, so it's easier to chew it all and not choke on it. But they just essentially like take the salad bowl and shovel it into their face like this. It's even worse looking than the hot dog thing.
I guarantee you, probably what is the over-under on how many minutes or hours later they're sitting somewhere else for a long time?
Hey, that's how I eat my dinner.
I would like to see
in front of my face and just shovel it.
Like ramen noodles or whatever.
One time after the Nathan thing, and you just show the line of people, just go.
Oh, going out like they went in, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Does Joey Chestnut do that for a living?
Who?
Yes.
How do you possibly make money off that?
He's got sponsors.
Like a NASCAR.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are they sponsoring you?
Because we're in a world where there's a lot of things that are sponsored you never thought even existed at one point. But was Kobayashi the original guy?
He was the original dude, and then Chestnut came along and knocked him out. Actually, my dad and I were in a restaurant in Vegas, and Kobayashi was in there. And in a way my dad could only say it, he was sitting across from us, and he just ordered one steak and a potato and everything else, and just had a normal meal. And my dad goes, "Well, this is BS."
Yeah. I bet he wanted to see him start stuffing some hot dogs. I wonder, and they have to do the bun, right? You can't just take the hot dog.
That's why they dunk it in the water.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's gross.
God, that's nuts.
So gross.
That doesn't make any sense. That's like trying to catch rattlesnakes. Why?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to try to reschedule JJ.
Yeah.
All right. Mack Rhodes is coming up next, and we'll ask him quite a bit about what is next and what happened. Women's basketball, maybe in his words, and what was the timeline? Does Baylor have less of a commitment for women's basketball? Are they going to cut back the budget? Do they care about winning all? Some of you have said that. Mack Rhodes, next on SicEm365 Radio.
The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodway, Hewitt, China Spring, Martin, Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions. Here to help you, your family, and your business. Whether it's great times or tough times, all of us need a bank we can count on. Great people with great technology dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person or use their online and mobile apps. And convenient drive-through and ATMs at all locations. And they've got great products like the First mobile app. You can do your banking wherever you are. You check balances, make transfers, pay bills, and transfer funds. First deposit, and you deposit a check using your smartphone's camera. Just snap a picture of the front and back of your check, choose your account, and go. They have that at the First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhodes is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right, here we go on this Tuesday, April the 27th. Mack Rhodes, Director of Athletics at Baylor University, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Mack, thank you very much for being a part of the show. Obviously, we have a lot of questions for you, and you can answer as many as you possibly can. You usually do. Is Mike Woodson still an interim head coach in tennis?
Coach Woodson, as of today, he is. But we've met with Coach. I think, Kenny Boyd and I sat down with him a couple weeks ago, and we'll have another conversation with him in the next couple days. And we wanted the season to close out, and there'll be more news forthcoming.
All right, that's all we had for you, Mack. We got to get to some of this, and whatever you could possibly. There's so much chatter that you and Kim had a bad relationship. I've talked to her before, and I know that you have been on the air with us many times. And there's so much about the arena and the court being named after her. Did you have a bad relationship with Kim Mulkey?
I think from my end, I certainly wouldn't describe it as a bad relationship at all. I think it was a mutual relationship of respect. I think if you asked her that, and you may have, I think she would say the same. Obviously, Kim and I didn't agree on everything, but I don't know any head coach and athletic director that does agree on everything together. Matt Rhule and I didn't agree on everything, and Coach Aranda and I don't agree on everything. But you find a way to work through those things, and I think Kim and I found our balance. I think we got to a place where we had good trust with one another. And I get all the noise and the speculation out there, but the only two people that really know are Kim and I, and I would just describe it as a respectful relationship.
She told me last week when I spoke with her on Wednesday, when some of this stuff started to kind of build with LSU, that she never wanted to coach a team when the arena was not on a campus. Did you ever hear that? Was that something that was told to you?
Yeah, that's something that we talk through. But again, in fairness to Kim and just the university, I mean, there was never. Those were always constructive, professional conversations. There were no demands. There were philosophical discussions. I think she understood, my role as athletic director and how I needed to process that and think about that. And I, hopefully she felt like, I stood in her shoes and certainly respected her thoughts on it as well.
Why did she leave, Mack?
I appreciate the question. I think, decisions are very personal for coaches. Kim is the only one to truly answer that. I can tell you that when she called me and let me know that, she was leaving, had decided to leave for LSU, was very similar to what everybody heard in the press conference. I believe I didn't have an opportunity to listen to it because of what we're going through right now, the search process. But I think she felt called to be there. Those are her roots. I think that tugged on her heart. I think she feels like it's a proposition much bigger than just building a basketball program. I think it's a proposition of helping her home state, of helping a university that's going through some tough times. We certainly know what that feels like. It's hard to go through all of that. There's probably, a lot of different fractions going on within the LSU family. At least I could anticipate, and she feels like she can help that, and that's what we talked about.
Mack, the only people who ever know who have to do this are athletic directors, but what's it like walking in having to address a team after a coach has left?
Yeah, it's hard, Paul. It's hard either way, whether it's because a coach left for a different opportunity or because, an institution made a decision to make a change. Those student athletes develop relationships, obviously, with that head coach and that staff, and trust them. And now all of a sudden, the rug's pulled from underneath, so to speak, and now there's uncertainty, and they have a lot of different people talking to them and giving them advice, and some of that advice is for their own good and well-being, and some of that advice is for the is more for the selfishness of the person giving it, and so it's hard. What we told our student athletes when we met with them is that we love Kim. We're happy for her. We know that this is hard. We ask them to hang in there, until we make a decision on a future leader, and then and only then will they have all of the information that they need to make a decision that's best for them. But it's hard. I mean, I feel for them. I would ask that one of the best thing about this institution is its faith, is its belief in Christ, and I'd ask that all Baylor Nation pray for our current student athletes, because it's a time of uncertainty, and now they're resilient. They're a tough group. You don't win as many games as they've won if you're not, but certainly there's this time of uncertainty, and we're trying to do our best to walk along with them.
You couldn't have been completely blindsided, because we asked you about this last week, and at the time LSU still had a women's basketball coach, is what you said. And, if things changed as they did, then, you guys would have to think differently. How surprising, or I guess you couldn't have been blindsided because you kind of had heard the rumblings, but were you still in a way surprised or blindsided by just all of this kind of unfolding?
No, I wasn't surprised or blindfolded. I think if you've done this long enough, you've seen a lot of different things, transpire, and you try not to get on that roller coaster of emotion. You just try to be ready for whatever's going to happen, and anticipate as best you can, and be prepared. And so, so now, we've got a task out in front of us, and that's to find the next leader. We're excited about that, and we're prepared to do that.
Is there some sort of process within the administration or with the athletic department about changing how much has been funded to women's basketball going forward?
No, not at all. The legacy that Kim and her staff and student athletes and fans, by the way, because everybody was a part of it, of building this legacy. And you think about the regular season Big 12 championships and the tournament championships and the 3 national championships and the Final Four appearances. We don't want to lose that. We want our women's basketball program to continue to be nationally relevant, to compete at a high level. You think about the big brands in national on the national level in terms of women's basketball, and I don't know if that's in 2 years, I don't know if that's in 5 years, 10 years, but there's going to be changes there at some of the other institutions, and we want to position ourselves to continue to be elite in the sport of women's basketball. So we've not changed any funding in terms of our operational budget, assistant coaching salary pool, all of those things. We're prepared to and committed to fund it at the highest level and continue to compete for championships.
If that's the case, and Kim was here, then why would there not be a way to make it work? Or do you think it could have been salvaged?
Yeah, I guess I'd reframe the question. I feel like Kim decided that she needed to go do that for LSU and a place in her heart, and we were at a good place. I think Kim felt like we were in a really good place where this program was funded. She didn't come into my office and was disgruntled about how this program was funded at all. She was thankful and grateful.
Mack Rhodes, Baylor Director of Athletics, with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Mack, how long do you expect the search to take?
The sooner the better, so I don't have to keep fielding questions from you guys. I always hesitate to put a timeline on because, we've talked about it before. It's repetitive and people have heard me say it. It's kind of like the same old boring habits, but it's a journey, and there can be some twists and turns, but we want to be able to expedite this as best we can without sacrificing quality. In my mind, in the back of my mind is always the thought of our current student athletes. And again, we spoke to it earlier, but the uncertainty that they're going through, and I think sooner the better for our student athletes. Sooner the better, for our fans and just again direction in moving forward. And I would hope that sometime next week we'll know who the next person is to lead our women's basketball program.
Mack, is every coaching search, no matter the sport, pretty much the same, or are there intricacies depending on the sport?
I think fundamentally, foundationally, the process is very similar in terms of the way we reach out to first and foremost, the way we identify potential candidates, the way we reach out to them, the process in terms of questions and in-person interviews. Now, I think there's tweaks to who's involved. There may be different nuances depending upon the sport on how we conduct an interview. Are there other things that we bring into the interview process? But fundamentally, it's pretty much the same. I feel good about how we do it. We've had some success with it, and again, I'm excited about this. I think the future of our women's basketball program is really, really, really bright.
If a candidate asked you, the job is open, and you speak with one of them that's a candidate, and they ask you, why come to a program where a Hall of Fame coach just left? Would you say kind of the same things you've already told us, that you're still committed the same to everything across the board?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, that's not the question that they're asking. The interest is unbelievably high.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm asking is, how do you feel about following a Hall of Fame coach? Because there's great pressure with that.
Yep.
And how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it if we have a tough stretch and there's injuries, or because of the very recent 2 weeks ago change in transfer process that you have to rebuild roster, and so maybe the wins don't come as soon, and now all of a sudden all of the noise and the pressure, and you're not winning as much as the former Hall of Fame coach, and the comparison. And so that's the question that I'm asking, that we're asking of potential candidates, and that's a lot to deal with, and it's going to take somebody with great fortitude, with a lot of confidence, with great resiliency, to be able to handle it. And I think It's been, we anticipated, we suspected that there would be great interest in it, and there's great interest in it. Why wouldn't there be? Kim showed and staff and our student athletes showed that you can win national championships here. Our fans have showed that if we put a good product out there, they're gonna show up and fill the arena. We've got. I truly believe this. I think we have the best women's basketball fans in the entire country. And so, there's a lot of interest in our job. Now, our job isn't for everybody. This is a special place. The faith component, we're not going to compromise on that. That's going to be a huge part of this. And so that's, that right there limits, the number of people that you talk to and who's really a true candidate.
Mack, if LSU had removed their offer for Coach Mulkey, or had she turned it down, would she be the head coach at Baylor right now?
Absolutely, 100%. And we would have moved on, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yep.
Absolutely. 100%.
You kind of mentioned what some of the candidates are saying. So does that mean you've already started the interview process?
We've started reaching out and having some conversation with a few, but we're early in the process. And again, first step is really, solidifying, what we're looking for. All of those characteristics, and we certainly were prepared and had those in place fairly quickly, and then then it's the process of IDing. Obviously, when you're an athletic director, no matter the sport, you've got names and of potential candidates, but it needs to be much broader than just that list. And so, got others involved within our athletic department involved in the process, and expanded those names. And, now it's all right, of those names, who do we think is a best fit, who matches up to those characteristics? Are they interested? Are they not interested? So we're in that process, and I'm excited. I'm excited for where we're headed.
Mack, I want to go back to something you said when you were talking about what the candidates were saying. Just for our listeners, for maybe a simple point of comparison, based on what the women's basketball program has been built to at Baylor, would you say this is kind of like if you're the AD at Alabama and the football job comes open, you're the AD at Duke and that basketball job would come open, your phone's going to ring more than it would be at another program that wasn't as committed to that sport?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, again, I think and I mentioned it before, I think the caveat is our faith component. And, there are probably some candidates that realize and understand that maybe that's not a great fit for them. But absolutely. People know that this is a great institution. They know we've got great fans. We've got great student athletes, an unbelievable president, a great board of regents, an athletic administration that operates at an elite level and cares about our student athletes, pours into them. Great coaches, an organization that I think is fairly well aligned. I don't think certainly not saying we're perfect, but you look at the success that our sport programs are having, it's because we have great people.
Mack, how much, you have donors, you have boosters, you have board of regents, you have people around the program. Would you say you felt pressure from anybody in those type of administrative or power positions to keep Kim or to make this work?
No, I didn't feel pressure from anybody. I think, all of those folks that you mentioned certainly had a variety of opinions, but it wasn't, again, it wasn't the way you framed that question. It wasn't about keeping Kim. People had opinion. Is there anything more you can do? Ultimately, it's Kim's decision. But I didn't feel pressure from anybody. If there's any pressure, it's the pressure that I put on myself to do, the very, very best that I can do leading. And that's a we proposition, because I don't do this by myself. I've got such great people that are alongside, but that we do the very best that we can do for Baylor University and the student athletes that we serve.
2 timelines. You mentioned you could have somebody, in fact, as early as next week. That's kind of like what you'd like to have. But my question as well is, because of the fact you have this roster that's loaded, you have a high school signee and also an incoming transfer. Does that change your timeline at all? Does that make it even more urgent? I know it's urgent no matter what to replace a legend, a Hall of Famer, but does that even come into play? And does the arena come into play at all in making sure whoever it is continues the momentum to get that done?
Yeah, I mean, the arena isn't really a part of this conversation. Certainly our current student athletes. We have 3 prospective student athlete signees. 2 transfers and then someone that, a young lady that's signed an NLI. And again, just in fairness to them, trying to get this done as quick as we can so that they can have certainty, so that they can make decisions. And again, it's a completely different situation than what it was years ago, where somebody had to ask permission to transfer. Now you don't have to ask permission. You just notify the school and you go into the transfer portal. And now in the sport of women's basketball, as well as men's basketball and football and baseball and wrestling, you're not going to have to sit out a year. And so that makes it, completely different. We're completely transparent with our student athletes. They know that. Again, I've been able to have conversations with the 2 transfer student athletes, really, really positive conversations yesterday. And then our 1 high school signee as well, her and her family. And right now they're waiting and they're certainly eager to learn, but they're waiting to learn and know who our next head coach is. And, whoever that is, we'll have conversations with them, as well as our current roster. That will be the very, very first thing that the new head coach does, so that our young people can make a decision.
Mack, and we appreciate your time as always. Obviously, a lot of questions. What would you say? You've kind of said some things, but point blank, you know how faithful. You've mentioned how incredibly loyal the Lady Bears fans were to the program, and maybe will still be. And how much they followed and obviously adored Kim Mulkey. What would you say to them right now, for those who are like angry or bitter or maybe pointing fingers or upset? What would you say to them?
One, I would thank them for all of their support, and I do. I said it earlier. I think we have the best fans in the country. And, yes, Coach Mulkey, yes, the staff, yes, our student athletes, but you look at all of the nationally relevant powerhouse consistently, I don't care what sport, they all have a strong fan base. And I think we have one of the best. And so I would first and foremost just thank them, and we're going to continue to thank them. I would tell them that, we need them now more than ever. In times of change, in times of transition, our student athletes, when they walk out on that floor in November, first game, our student athletes need to see them there, out in the arena, out in the stands. I ask them for their prayers for our current student athletes, for Coach Mulkey, her transition, and for the transition of anyone on the staff, whatever that situation is, joining her, staying here. I'd ask them to pray for our coaching search, for the new head coach and a smooth transition. We've had some unbelievable moments in women's basketball, probably, and I say this very humble, but more than most schools. And I think I know we have a lot of great moments still to come, and we need them there. And we need them there. We certainly understand that the change is hard, but we love them, and we need them.
Mack, you obviously took on this job. You knew it, but you took on a job at the time when you arrived here in 2016 that was already in the middle of something. It just seemed like there's always something. That's part of your job. That's part of running a university or an athletic department or even a CEO of a business. What has this done to you? This story, or you have the NCAA timeline, which you brought up last week, that could be coming at any time. What has this done to you?
I don't ask Amy. I don't know. Hopefully, it's made me a stronger person. Hopefully, it's strengthened my faith, and I don't know. I'm secure in how we lead this department and how we serve our student athletes. I'm at peace with our purpose. I'm at peace with the way we make decisions. And there's going to be challenges. College athletics is becoming harder and harder and harder every day. We've talked about there's going to be more change probably here in the next couple of years than there's been in the last 10 to 15 years. And we're going to have to find a way to deal with it. Sitting in this chair, you're never going to make everybody happy. And if that's your goal, to try to make everybody happy, then I can tell you that you're not doing a good job leading. We're making decisions that we think first and foremost are best for our young people, are best for our university, and when there's change, we make the most of it, and we continue to look forward, move forward. Our athletics program is in an unbelievable position right now. Men's basketball is just coming off a national championship. I mean, my goodness, tennis yesterday just wins the Big 12 tournament. We've got 7 teams ranked in the top 10. I think 2 more in the top 25. And so, and again, it's hats off, all the credit, praise and glory goes to him. But then beyond that, it's to our student athletes, it's to our coaches, it's to our staff, it's to our fans. And Baylor's a special place. And we're going to continue moving forward, and we're going to continue our relentless pursuit of being great in everything we do.
last question for you. Bill Brock's the interim coach. Kim's taking some people with her. That's obvious. There may be other attrition. Can you confirm at all whether Bill Brock and Satia Messer will be a part of the coaching search?
Yeah, just in fairness to the search process and in fairness to both of them, I'm not going to comment. You know, when we sent out our release, we talked about the search, and we wouldn't make any comment on candidates until we introduce the next head coach. So we'll stick to that.
All right. Thank you, Mack. Appreciate your time. Good luck. Thank you. Mack Rhodes, Director of Athletics at Baylor University. Guys, your thoughts? The one thing I thought was interesting is when he mentioned that they hope to announce the new head coach in certain words. Craig, you put that up on Twitter by sometime next week. That's pretty quickly. And I think that's important because of the transfers, because of the freshmen who signed, and because you have an All-American Player of the Year on your roster and a great player next to her in Queen Egbo, among the others as well.
Yeah, I think you want to get this done as efficiently and quickly as possible.
254-339-1122. Your thoughts about the segment with Mack Rhodes. We'd love to get your feedback also on the YouTube text as well, the chat as well. A lot of you have been doing that as well. Craig?
I mean, I don't really have much to say. I just, he laid it out there. Wasn't going to get in the dirt on anything. And, like we were saying yesterday, this is Kim Mulkey's decision. Everybody Mack Rhodes didn't pony up or Mack Rhodes didn't do this. I saw that a ton this weekend. How many times do you need to hear that this was Kim Mulkey's decision before you stop pointing the finger at somebody other than Kim Mulkey? That's what I hope everybody takes away from that interview. And, I'm sure people will wait for bated breath for her to have some interview at some point and talk about everything and all that. But, I mean, it is what it is. She's gone. Like, I'm kind of over it already. You know what I mean? And I know we needed to talk to Mack about it, but now that he said what he said, I mean, it is what it is. She wanted to go to LSU. Fine. Have fun. She owes Baylor nothing. Baylor owes her nothing. And so it's what it is.
Brandon just said this on the text line, and then we'll go to a break. I know we're running behind. Not a Rhodes fan, but I feel better after that. Thanks for asking him some tough questions. Thanks for you listening, watching. We're going to come back with more. David Hellman at 5, John McClain as well. We'll try to squeeze in comments, text, calls in between, and try to figure out when we'll get J.J. Joe on to talk about the quarterbacks, because we will, if not today, tomorrow. Eric Dickerson will join us tomorrow, by the way, along with former Arkansas star and a Garland High School star Chuck Dykes, as they'll be inducted into the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame on Saturday. And this is SicEm365 Radio.
We've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville, but we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
The Jeep Celebration event at Allen Samuels has special pricing on the new 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude with total values up to $5,250 or 0% for 84 months. Or a special deal on a new 2021 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Limited with total values of $7,000 or 0% for 72 months. It's the Jeep Celebration event at Allen Samuels, the best place to find your new vehicle. Located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available, touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool, upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts, and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
All right, back here on SicEm365 Radio, Craig Smoak, David Smoak, Paul Catalina. Little off the radar. Start saying 455 for this segment. But have a couple of notes that we'll get to in this edition of Off the Radar. Just some stories that are not of the utmost importance, that aren't on the front page of what we talk about on a daily basis. This past weekend, UFC had their 261 pay-per-view. Kamaru Usman successful in a major way in his fight with Jorge Masvidal. You guys might remember that they had the dust-up at the Super Bowl the last time we were there. That was like 2 years ago at this point. Yeah. But they had a dust-up, and Masvidal got knocked the blank out by Usman. And Masvidal has said, hey, much respect. He hopes to fight for the title again in the future, although I think it's going to be quite a while because his 2 title fights have not gone well for him in any way, shape, or form. I do like the guy. He was very nice to me a couple years back in his hometown of Miami, but that was not a bright spot for him. But perhaps the most viral moment was not Usman's knockout, even as impressive as it was. It was Chris Weidman, the veteran UFC fighter, breaking his leg mid-fight against Uriah Hall. Not even mid-fight. It was like as the fight was beginning, basically threw a kick. His leg snapped when Uriah Hall checked the kick, which does happen sometimes. He planted his foot folded. He was on the canvas. He underwent surgery on Sunday morning, then took to Instagram to thank everyone for their well wishes, and that included Anderson Silva, who you might remember had a similar injury in a fight with, I believe it was with Weidman. So he says he's going to try to find the blessing in disguise. He's not giving up fighting. I thought that he probably would based on what we saw. And, we'll see how that goes. He's 37 years old, coming this summer.
Wow.
But if you missed it, be glad that you missed it. They put a titanium rod through the tibia. They go through the knee, take the rod, and drill it through the tibia to make it straight and hard. His fibula was also broken. But when they put the tibia back together and his leg was straight, the fibula kind of matched up to where it was broken, so they feel like it can heal on its own, is what Chris Weidman said. But that was a pretty nasty injury on Saturday night.
I was sitting there, I guess, and it was on my timeline. It looked as if his leg went fluid, like Willis McGahee in the bowl game, or not even Alex Smith or even Dak Prescott, but you could see the immediate that it was completely broken. I mean, it was gross. And I'm glad that I didn't see it live, but I happened to see just for a second slow motion, which is even worse. It was gross, and I can't imagine. Good for him to have the surgery and moving on.
Yeah, Paul, did you see the GIF of this leg break?
Yeah, I did.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah. And I checked off the The vomit in my mouth is acid reflux, but
yeah, it was pretty bad.
It could have been more.
Yeah,
it was pretty bad, but it was a good card.
Yeah.
You know,
it was a hell of a night. I mean, this
Yeah.
Rose girl,
Rose
who's a rock star or whatever, and among others. But yeah, that was one that kind of put a sour taste on the rest of the night.
Yeah, and you know, I think the UFC's hit a really nice stride as far as their star power goes, and as far as just the big fights they're putting together. It's still a little bit too frequent for me to keep up all the way. Too many divisions, too many belts, too many shows to really keep up with. But there's at the top, at their sweet spot, they're in a really good stride right now. And yes, Rose Namajunas is a very fun female fighter to watch, a strawweight, and had a big knockout to get a major win for her this past weekend. So definitely check her out as well. This has nothing to do with Kim Mulkey, I promise you. It just has to do with the school that she went to, because we haven't talked much about this, and God knows that Baton Rouge Radio probably spent a good amount of time on Baylor football back in the day. But if you haven't noticed, and ESPN has covered it, not to the extent they covered Baylor. Nobody has covered LSU to the extent that they covered Baylor about 5 years ago. But a new lawsuit was filed against LSU this week, accusing the university of conspiring to cover up multiple reports of sexual misconduct and dating violence, discriminating against female students, and depriving them of their rights. There's 7 women that have filed a lawsuit against the university, its leadership, the athletic fundraising arm, and multiple top administrators. The plaintiffs include 3 former LSU tennis players, 2 former football recruiting office student workers, a former student, and a current student who alleged that the school created a culture of silence. Does that sound familiar at all? Ring kind of like what we were hearing a few years ago? That discouraged victims from reporting abuse and harassment, that it prioritized the football team above the safety and welfare of the students, and they're seeking more than $5 million. There's a lot of allegations. And what's really interesting is former AD Joe Oliva, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he was a part of this as well. And the former the Oregon State president, the former Oregon State president that had come over from LSU, he had to step down after pressure here in the last few days from the community upon the kind of release of the various allegations. So Oregon State's now, in a roundabout way, been affected by this, and they had to call for the resignation of F. King Alexander. So they're now going through a presidential search because of his ties to LSU. Yeah. Now there's also the Darius Geis factor in this as well. He's now barred from the LSU campus, and yet we didn't know anything until, well, right now, basically. So there's all these different aftershocks that are starting to occur. Former tennis player is one of those who alleges that Darius Geis raped her. One of the former football student recruiting workers said that he took a nude photo of her and shared it without her consent. So he's very much involved in the story, Darius Geis, and just sounds like a complete scumbag. But this is wide-ranging, and we will see what occurs. But like I said, I think maybe it was off the air. If I'm LSU, I'm really interested in whatever the NCAA does to Baylor, because this is about as close to it as we've seen of any story. Like as far as the language, the accusations, the involvement and things like that, this is a very similar story in some ways, although Ed Orgeron's not being treated like Art Briles in this case for some reason. I don't know. Instead, we're just watching him hug Kim Mulkey when she arrives on campus.
I mean, and look, not yet. I mean, again, it's like you got everything you have to say not yet. Because
but it also is a school, Paul, in LSU that may not give a damn what social media and other people say either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they never have. I mean, they never. I mean, but you know, there's new administration up and down that university that has to now clean this out and do whatever it is so that these people find justice. But it almost reads word for word exactly like you said, Craig, and it's almost, outside of the involvement of certain people, like whatever it is, whether it's Michigan State or what happened at Ohio State or whatever, these all read the same things as somebody went somewhere with a complaint and it was just put in a stack. Mm-hmm. And nothing was ever done about it. And then eventually you're just getting to a point of like, why was nothing done about my complaint?
And you know who looks pretty much the worst out of this? I mean, Darius Geis looks the worst out of this, but Les Miles looks really bad in all of this as well. Mm-hmm. And he is mentioned throughout, and you may not have known this, maybe you saw it over the last few months, but apparently after being investigated in 2013, And if you're asking, well, when did he leave again? He left in 2016, 3 years after the investigation. He had been banned from being around female students at LSU. The head football coach had been banned from being around the female students. So this is part of why Mulkey went to LSU. I mean, we were talking about like to help the program, or Mack was referring to that, and that's exactly what he was referring to. Was this right here? Was this whole?
Well, this is why Jeff Long at Kansas doesn't have a job anymore.
Yep.
Because if you were, because Jeff Long clearly didn't ask LSU, because they could have said, some of this stuff would have been maybe, under legal lock and key, but the fact that he was banned from being around female students, if I were LSU telling them about Les Miles, I've been like, look, you may want to hire him, but you can't put him around the co-eds.
And I need to be clear, being alone with female students. I just want to make sure he couldn't not be around anybody. But
that's a huge deal that he can't be alone, in a room with a female student and that they not have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think we've seen the last of Les Miles, guys. I think we have. The Kansas thing was obviously not very good, but this is even worse. This is really, really bad look for him and for LSU. And, I've seen ESPN put it on the front page and things like that, but I think you're right. They just don't care. I know there are a lot of LSU fans that do, because I've read their tweets, and there are a lot that are fighting the fight. But, there's a lot that don't. And, as long as Darius Geis was scoring touchdowns, that's all that matters. So there's just a lot of similarities. Very interesting to see how that story is going to play out. And honestly, the final thing here, ever since we saw a Triple Crown winner, do y'all care at all about the Triple Crown?
I always do. I
still do?
I do.
Yeah, maybe. You're talking about the horse racing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about baseball too. But no, it's not the same. It's not that year after year. If someone wins it, whoever the horse would win it.
I'm thrilled I got to see it.
But it's not this almost like waiting for the car wreck. We saw year after year after year when somebody won, and a lot of horses did win the first couple of legs of the Triple Crown.
I'll be forever thankful to Big Brown and for Miguel Cabrera for both giving me Triple Crowns in two different sports in my lifetime, so I could say I saw it.
Yeah, I always wanted to see a Triple Crown winner, so Big Brown was pretty awesome. But you may not know it's coming up. The Kentucky Derby's coming up. Any guesses on who the favorite is? Could y'all even try to name a horse in the race?
No, Fred.
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah. Known agenda. 6-1 favorites. 6-1 favorite to win the Kentucky Derby and the number one post. Hot Rod Charlie is 8-1. Highly motivated, 10-1. And there's obviously a lot of fun names and whatnot as well. But shortly before, I guess it would be 6 o'clock, just before 6 o'clock this Saturday on NBC, it'll be the running of the Kentucky Derby. So the 147th edition coming your way this weekend. I'm just glad we saw a Triple Crown winner in my lifetime.
I am torn because I always pick horses not based on the fact that they could run really fast and win. And I pick based on the names completely. I am torn between Midnight Bourbon at 20-1 and Soup and Sandwich at 30-1.
Soup and Sandwich, yes.
Who doesn't love Soup and Sandwich?
It's the go-to, man. Yes. When you had back when you had a fever or the flu, back before COVID was known, you have a fever and flu now or whatever it might be. In fact, I saw where flu was down like 90% last year. I wonder why.
I don't know, but Hidden Stash.
You had the flu, we don't give a damn.
Yeah, I guess I don't really care. I mean, that whole conversation is just not even worth having. I mean, it's really not. Hidden Stash is a funny name as well. Wonder if the owners partake a little in the wacky weed.
I think you had everyone.
Stephen from Virginia's horse.
Hidden Stash.
Stevens is finally legal.
But coming up on Saturday, so there's just a couple of stories that are a bit off the radar that we normally wouldn't have time for.
All right, when we come back, David Hellman on the upcoming NFL draft with the Cowboys. Also, John McClain, NFL Hall of Fame writer. Much more to come. SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, got their savings event going on right now over at Richard Carr, and they have got great deals all over the lot for you to take full advantage of right now. They are celebrating 22 years, and they're doing so by, having savings in all these new and pre-owned cars. That includes 3 big rows of first-class seating, safety, technology, power, superior ride. Those things make the Enclave second to none, and during the Richard Carr anniversary sales event, you can save $8,500 on Buick Enclaves. You can also get the power and luxury combined in the GMC Sierra. Save $8,000 on a 2021 GMC Sierra. Save $7,000 off 2021 GMC Acadias, or save $6,750 off GMC Terrains. And Richard Carr Motors has a lot of other deals. Just head on over to the dealership or look online. You can check out all the varieties of vehicles, again, new and pre-owned cars with thousands of dollars off. And if you do make it on over to the dealership, well, Richard Carr Motors, being your local family dealer, will take care of you. They're proud Baylor Bears. They want to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, and priority warranty service on all vehicles purchased. So stop by that clean and disinfected showroom to take a test drive, or let them bring the test drive to you. It's the big 22-year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr. And Richard Carr Motors says, Sic'Em Bears, and congratulations to the national champion Baylor men's basketball team.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house-cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with David Hellman of DallasCowboys.com.
Rodgers, risky throw, picked off by Patrick Surtain, and they will cross the 35-point threshold with a defensive score.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak with us. And David Hellman, here we are a couple of days from the NFL draft. Here is the deal. By the way, the Cowboys have the 10th pick overall in the draft. Jerry, Stephen, and Mike McCarthy, they were all over the place today in the press conference on many things along with Sean Lee. David, anything in particular of everything that was said that made a difference to you or kind of caught your attention?
At the risk of sounding cynical, not really. I think these pre-draft press conferences are pretty uniform, and you know, they love to get up there and tell you that they feel good about who they could pick at 10. They're not afraid to trade up, and they might trade down. So they kind of covered everything, and we'll just have to wait and see what they're actually saying, because you know they're going to try their best not to give it away 2 days ahead of time.
Do you see a reasonable trade-up scenario with them?
No, not really. And to Jerry Jones's credit, I just said, you know, they love not to tell the truth. But, you know, Jerry kind of alluded to that. He said, look, if you're going up in the top 10, it's probably for a quarterback, and we don't need a quarterback. And he was specifically asked about Kyle Pitts, who, you know, everybody is talking about this guy, and for good reason. But I'm just not convinced it makes sense for a team with such a loaded offense to be giving away assets to move up for another offensive skill player. And I think the Cowboys agree. So really hard to imagine that happening, considering that it's a good bet that a lot of the defensive talent in this draft is probably going to fall to them, you know, closer to 10.
David, have you bought your LSU women's basketball season tickets yet?
I have not. I don't really know if that's a great investment for me, because my job kind of keeps me in Dallas. But, I mean, you know, it took Kim Mulkey all of about a minute and a half to kind of catch people's attention at her press conference. So I am excited that she's there, but I don't know if it's a smart investment for me to be buying season tickets.
David Hellman with us on
Makes a good point. I mean, Dallas and Baton Rouge are really far away.
Yeah, you're right. David, the number 10 pick in the draft, and you've kind of discussed this as well, there's a chance, and it appears almost likely, that the best defensive player in the draft will be available to them. We've mentioned Pitts or whoever else. If an offensive lineman is available at that, is there anything that would keep them from taking a defensive player? Is it other than Pitts at Florida?
I think Pitts is the big one. I think, and that, you know, nobody expects him to be there. He could go as quickly as 4th overall or anywhere in between. And I think he's such a dynamic value that you have to consider it. I would probably maybe throw Penei Sewell, the Oregon offensive. Most people see him as the clear-cut best tackle, and obviously that's something the Cowboys could use as an insurance policy. You know, there's some really great receivers in this class, and, you know, I think they should at least be open to it, but I don't think they would do that. And I get it. It makes sense from a roster building perspective. You know, I would consider it a pretty big upset if it's not a defensive player. If they trade back, I think that changes the conversation a good bit. But if they hang in there and pick at 10, I really would expect it to be a defensive player.
David, do you expect that 8, 9, 10 region to be kind of a, the kind of dealer's choice of, you know, which of those teams may deal back? Because None of them really particularly need quarterbacks. I guess you could make an argument for the Broncos, but there are teams behind them that could be motivated to get there at that point.
Well, I don't think you can rule out the Panthers. I know they traded for Sam Darnold, but it's not like Sam Darnold is this proven commodity that you have to build around. And they've got trade assets, and in terms of still having Teddy Bridgewater kicking around. And all of the smoke coming out of Carolina this offseason has been that their new owner is just desperate to have, a face of the franchise quarterback. So, if the situation presented itself, I don't think you can write that off. But Carolina honestly scares me if I'm a Cowboys fan for a variety of reasons. It seems like their needs really line up a lot with what the Cowboys want. They need offensive line help so they could take one of those offensive tackles off the board. Their cornerback depth chart is really not great either. So, we love to say that the Cowboys are going to have their choice between J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain. I'm not convinced that's true. I think somebody like a Carolina could maybe take him at 8. So that's really where it gets scary for me. Like, picks 1 through 6, I feel like everybody's got a pretty good idea of what's going to happen there. But 7, 8, 9, and yeah, you mentioned somebody could trade up into that spot if they feel strongly about a guy. Those 3 picks before the Cowboys come up, 7, 8, 9, kind of worry me if I'm trying to make sure I get my guy.
David, this is non-Cowboys, but what do you think the 49ers do at 3? That seems to be the pick to me where, Trevor Lawrence is pretty much a foregone conclusion. It seems the Jets like Zach Wilson a good deal, but then at 3, is that kind of where you could see the draft taking its first twist?
Man, I kind of hope you're right, and I don't know. I don't want to knock Mac Jones too much. I think he's a good player, and I think he's worthy of being a first-round pick, but I'm not convinced at all that he should be a guy that you trade away future drafts to go up and get number 3 overall ahead of, in my opinion, a much more talented and equally proven player in Justin Fields. And then even a guy like Trey Lance, obviously he's incredibly raw. He's only played 20 games, but if you've ever seen the guy work out, his natural talent is undeniable. I would way rather take a chance on one of those 2 guys. But, all the smoke seems to point towards San Francisco actually wanting to draft Mac Jones. We'll see what happens. I think, the Falcons might be the most interesting team in this entire draft because, you could convince me that they should take a quarterback if Justin Fields is there. Matt Ryan's getting up there. That makes sense. There's word coming out of Atlanta that they might try to trade Julio Jones as the spring goes along. They could draft Kyle Pitts to work with Matt Ryan. They could draft a quarterback. Or they could trade out of that if somebody like a Denver or a Carolina is desperate to get a quarterback, they could trade back and get a haul for it. So when they come up on the clock, that's when I really expect the craziness to really start.
So Sean Lee retired. That's not a surprise, and it could have happened maybe even a couple of years ago. What will you remember most about him?
Oh man, Sean Lee is it's funny because he's one of the most intense people I've ever been around, but he's also very naturally funny. He's a fun guy to talk to, but he's just all business. I think about, obviously he's legendary for how much tape he studies and the way that he anticipates things on the field. But like I said, it's funny. He's all business, but then at the same time, he'll crack a joke on you and say something really funny or tease you. He used to tease me about Penn State beat LSU in a bowl game when he was a player there, and he gave me grief about it every opportunity that he got. So all business all the time, but also one of the secretly very fun personalities on the team. It's Cowboys will miss him on the field, I'm sure, but it'll be a bummer not having him around the facility as well.
David, the one thing I remember, I'll remember about him forever, was in the documentary they did on Amazon, the All or Nothing. They were showing him, and he had clearly spent and gotten annoyed with the fact that Darren Sproles used to kind of really get after the Cowboys. So he just watched tape of Darren Sproles again and again and was telling everybody, listen, this is specifically what he does. This is how you have to tackle Darren Sproles. And how much he worked on just that one player just knocked my socks off.
No, yeah, and there's a famous scene from that show where, the season was over and they hadn't made the playoffs, and you got 9 months before you have to worry about the season again. And he went straight into the film room and started watching tape. He's addicted to it. And, you know, I can think of a million little things. Like, you know, he wore this one specific type of cleat that he just loved, and they stopped making them. And he loved them so much that he would like scour the internet, and he had like the equipment staff get on eBay and periodically check for it. You know, the attention to detail that he went through just to make sure that he could wear the type of cleat he preferred. Like I said, he was all business. There was no detail that he would not go over to try to be better at football. And I mean, people say stuff like that all the time, but like, if everybody on your roster cared as much about being good at football as Sean Lee did, you'd win the Super Bowl like every year.
David, what do you think the Cowboys do with the option with Leighton Vander Esch?
I legitimately think it depends on what happens this weekend, to be honest with you. You know, Leighton, he played 18 games as a rookie. He was fantastic. He was an all-pro. He's only played 19 games in the 2 years since, so durability is obviously a very real concern. The $10 million price tag if you pick up that option. You know, you also probably want to keep Jalen Smith's contract situation in the back of your mind. So I wonder, you know, if you come out of this draft without really addressing linebacker in a big way, it's probably worth it to pick it up and just, you know, ensure yourself for the future. Just make sure you have a starter caliber player. But, you know, let's say you wind up taking Micah Parsons, or even doesn't even have to be a number 10 overall pick. Maybe later on in the day they draft Baron Browning out of Ohio State, or Stephen Collins out of Tulsa. You know, my LSU guy, Brill Cox, is turning a lot of heads as a day 2 possibility. If they get a guy like that, then maybe they look at the option and say, well, you know, we've got this super talented rookie on a cheap contract. We don't need to give Leighton $1 million. So I don't think it's a coincidence that they haven't made that decision yet. And I think they're waiting to see, you know, who they wind up drafting over these next few days.
David, get some sleep if you're getting any, because I know the next 3 to 4 days for you. And then even after that, then you start breaking down who was drafted and all about them, and then the incoming players as well. Thanks for your time, man. Appreciate you coming on a little bit late with us.
No problem. Hey, it's very busy, but it's very fun, so I'll take it.
Absolutely.
I'll talk to y'all later.
David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com. Tomorrow we'll hear from John Machota, The Athletic. But coming up next, John McClain, Houston Chronicle, Pro Football Hall of Fame writer and also voter. And then J.J. Joe will be able to join us by the end of the hour, finally, to be able to talk about the quarterbacks following spring drill. SicEm365 Radio.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors that Baylor trusts, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Ram Truck Month means special pricing on the new 2021 Ram trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, has special values up to $5,500 or 0% for 84 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Central Texas new Ram commercial truck headquarters with 3,500 and 5,500 chassis cabs and other great work trucks. Visit Allen Samuels today. It's Ram Truck Month.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
John McClain's a Hall of Fame rider. Puts everyone on the ballot, votes for them, talks about them, discusses them, joins us. He covers the Texans as well. The draft is just a couple of days away. John, it does seem to be there's a little bit more normalcy, not quite, but a little bit more normalcy with this draft coming up. But yet again, it comes down to who needs what, and sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. What do the Texans have to get done without any picks in the first 2 rounds?
No, last time they didn't have picks in the first 2 rounds in 2018. They used a 68th overall pick on Stanford safety Justin Reed, who's been a 3-year starter and one of their best players. They also got a starting tight end, Jordan Akins, and a receiver, Kiki QT, who over the last quarter of last season was really good. They need to have that other kind of productivity. Since they need a quarterback, if they pick 67th overall, if Nick Caserio trades down, and there's a second-tier quarterbacks that they could get, we'll have 1 or 2 of them available they might take, and they have so many needs. Not one stands out, although I still think they need a cornerback and can't have enough pass rushers. But I feel strongly they're not going to draft a safety, a running back, or an offensive lineman with their first pick.
John, who's the most interesting team at the top of the draft to you?
Everybody wants to know about the 49ers and the quarterback they're going to take. Kyle Shanahan wouldn't have made that trade with Miami, swapping first-round picks and then trading 2 future 1s and a 2 to move up for an unproven quarterback. I wrote a column today about what the plan had been on Deshaun Watson, to have 6 teams bidding against each other, and then right before Thursday, take the best offer, which they thought they could get 3 1s, 2 2s, and a starter. Well, if the 49ers will give up 3 1s, a 2 to move up for an unproven quarterback, what would the team have given for Watson? So that was before he had all his legal issues. And I think the intrigue is there, but the draft really starts at 4 with Atlanta. Does Atlanta take a quarterback? Do the Falcons make it 4 in a row for the first time in history? They've got Matt Ryan with a $48 million cap figure in 2022. He's going to be 36 next month. The new coach and GM, they got a chance to get their quarterback of the future, or do they take the best player left on the board, Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida, or LSU receiver Jamar Chase? And so that's where it really begins. I think that I'm going to have them take a quarterback, and I've had that in most of my drafts. But even though Kyle Pitts is a better prospect, but I think they could take one of those other guys, like say Trey Lance, who needs to sit for a year because he didn't play last season, and he really that played well as a sophomore. But that's where the intrigue begins. Number 4, Cincinnati has the 5th pick. A lot of people are saying they might trade down because they have so many needs. But Mike Brown, their owner, I don't think he's ever traded down in a draft.
John, you had Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle of Northwestern, going to Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers. They're obviously in an interesting position. They did grab Sam Darnold, so you can see where that could potentially eliminate the need for quarterback. Why'd you go OT for Rule and the Panthers?
But if you're going to invest in Sam Darnold, and they've yet to pick up his 5th-year option, the media has said they will. I'm not convinced they won't take a quarterback there, let him sit for a year, then trade Sam Darnold. That's when I thought the Texans might trade Deshaun Watson to the Jets, get Sam Darnold included in the deal, draft Zach Wilson, play Darnold until you're ready for Wilson to be elevated, then trade Darnold for what you can get. So maybe they'll still do that. But if they've got a quarterback in Darnold, they better either give him some weapons or get him some protection. And they've got some weapons, so I think that the best choice, if they don't go defense, would be get him some pass protection, and Slater's second best offensive line prospect in the draft.
I saw, and this has been a while, and I wish I still had it in front of me, and it's one of those things that as I was traveling probably got rid of it. But if you look at the history of the draft, the last, when was Eli Manning drafted? Even before
2004.
That there's been, like, in the last 25 years or so, and I thought maybe that Troy Aikman might have been one of those, and that was in 89, so that was longer than that quarterbacks drafted in the first round that took their original team to the Super Bowl is a list of like 2 guys.
And Troy Aikman and Peyton Manning.
There you
Aikman
go.
in 89, Manning in 1998. Quarterbacks are going to be the first 3 picks. You go back to 2014 through 2018, 8 quarterbacks were among the first 3 picks. Only one still with the team that drafted him, Baker Mayfield.
See, but then there's this infatuation because that's the straw that stirs the drink, and yet if you look at history, that hasn't worked that way.
It hasn't. Last year, the top 9 quarterbacks in passer rating, none was drafted among the first 3. But because it's the most important position, and one reason it's the most important position, back before they liberalized the rules to help the offense, specifically the passing game, and they've done everything they can to protect the quarterback position has become more important. One time they went 7 drafts in a row without the quarterback being the first pick. One time they went 6 in a row without the quarterback being the first pick. And if you go back to Peyton Manning in 1998, they've never gone more than 2 years in a row. That was Eric Fisher in 13 and Jadeveon Clowney in 14, where the quarterback wasn't the first pick. So it's like, they look back at others' failures and they'll say, hey, that was them. We'll do a better job. You know, we're not going to cave. We're not going to give up on a player. Just because they didn't do it doesn't mean we can't. So they continue to take these guys. And this is the riskiest draft in history. You know, no combine, no private workouts, no meetings one-on-one, no 30 visits where prospects can come to your facility. It's based on pro days, based on Zoom interviews, and then what you see on tape. And you've got a lot of quarterbacks that don't have much starting experience. And that's, you know, Zach Wilson had to win his starting job last year. Trey Lance played 1 game last year. Justin Fields has started 2 seasons. The quarterback with the most starts, Kellen Mond, by far.
Wow.
Yeah, is that one of the reasons he's moving up the charts, John?
I think experience, but also when they talk to him on their Zooms, from what I understand, Mond has been very, very impressive when they ask him questions, you know, what would you do in this situation or that situation, and they like his responses. So that's why he's going up. It's not because he impressed them at the combine or private workouts. It's the mental part. And I think that's what happens when you start with 2 head coaches, 2 systems. You have different quarterback coaches, and yet you're a 4-year starter who improved in your last year. And a lot of coaches like that. Now, if you know, he's not in that first group. Remember, Russell Wilson was 3rd-round pick. He wasn't in the first group. Kirk Cousins, 4th-round pick. Joe Montana, 3rd-round pick. There have been Brady 6, Johnny Unitas 9, Bart Starr 18. There's a lot of quarterbacks who were not drafted high, but still, you know, you might get lucky. They don't come around every year. You still got it. Until you get that position solidified, you're not going to win consistently.
John, is there anything to, I know that's happened with Jeff Tedford quarterbacks back in the day, but Jimbo Fisher quarterbacks, if you look at Jameis Winston, Christian Ponder, E.J. Manuel, Jamarcus Russell, all drafted really high, 2 of those first overall, and none of them have had banner careers. Of course, Jameis Winston, to be determined, what his final story is. But does that play a part in anybody that, Jimbo Fisher really coaches up quarterbacks well in college, but that has not translated to consistent success in the NFL just yet?
I'll give you an example, Paul. There was people saying that about Jeff Tedford when he was at Cal, and they went through all these quarterbacks who had played for him as a head coach and assistant coach, and that's probably one reason Aaron Rodgers fell, and he turned out all right. And I think, like Jameis Winston, it wasn't Jimbo's fault that he threw 30 interceptions and 6 pick sixes in 2019. So I don't think they hold it against the coach. I think it's based on each situation. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that I can't even remember what year it was. E.J. Manuel was the only quarterback taken in the first round, and he was a huge bust. We will never see that again.
Yeah, it's because he played at Florida State. We know what happens to those guys. Yeah.
Bums. Yeah. John, this is not related to the NFL at all, but you are a very proud Baylor alumni. Your thoughts on the big switch with women's basketball this week? Kim Mulkey heading off to LSU.
Well, that's not as big a story as it is in Waco down here, but a lot of people are talking about it. I've been asked about it on talk shows, and I'll say this, like everybody else, I will always be so appreciative of what she did at Baylor. I still believe outside the new arena they ought to erect statues of her and Scott Drew because of what they've done for the program, but it's obvious she was mad at somebody because she didn't just all of a sudden wake up and go, hey, I want to go home. Because she could have done that any year. So there's a lot of speculation. We're never going to know the exact truth. But I have faith in Mack Rhodes that he's going to get a good coach. And if they'll pay money like they did Kim, they can have their pick of a lot of great ones. And I can't wait. I just hope that the players under these new transfer rules don't follow where the LSU and they stay at Baylor.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Good luck covering the draft. That's John McClain, Houston Chronicle, Hall of Fame writer and voter. Coming up next, JJ Joe plus Paul's 5 at 5:55. JJ on the quarterback battle. Following spring drill, SicEm365 Radio.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, here we go. This 5 o'clock hour wrapping up. J.J. Joe will join us here momentarily. He's going back to voicemail again. We'll have Paul's 5 at 5:55. By the way, the update, Oklahoma, they're not unbeatable because you got to be careful, but they did run the table last year. They're undefeated this year. They're up now 7-1 on Baylor. That game is in the 6th inning. It was 1-0, and then here comes the pounding, the bats. I think it was a couple home runs, 7-1 OU.
They had a grand slam, then there was another home run. Somebody got their window bashed in the parking lot. So if you go to an Oklahoma softball game, just park far away because those ladies hit a lot of home runs. And, I saw the picture. I think it was Eddie Radosevich posted it of a broken, or a smashed window.
They're 37-1. They are incredible. And it's almost like Godzilla or King Kong comes to town. Their one loss was at Georgia, 7-6 in 9 innings. In a doubleheader, they won the second game of that double dip in Athens, 12-3. Like Craig said, Texas was really good, and they outscored Texas 40-3, with 2 of those, all 3 games ending after 5 innings.
Yeah, that was all set up to be this. Texas had hired the Oregon softball coach, who's a legend, and obviously, Oklahoma's got their own legend coaching right now. And, that went from a hyped series for softball fans to not much of a competition and games ending early. So I don't know, what you got to do to beat them, but it's awfully hard as only one team's been able to do it all year long.
All right, so that's 7-1. The golf tournament, the men's golf tournament's going on, and Baylor, I think, is like 5th or 6th. There's a 3-way tie for the top. Baylor stands 5th or 6th in the standings with that men's golf tournament going on at this particular time as well. Let me see here. This is from Baylor 1984. Thanks for the interview with Mack. It was great. Okay, we have him, right? We have JJ. This is, I don't know. Great interview with Mack. It was great. I have one question for you on the conversation you had with Kim. Did she say she didn't want to coach in an off-campus arena, or she wouldn't? And she told me she would not coach at anywhere, college basketball, if the arena was not on campus. And there's a difference, and I appreciate you asking me the question, would not. That doesn't mean that's what she told Mack Rhodes. We're now joined by J.J. Joe, Baylor football analyst, former quarterback as well. J.J., thanks for your time. The spring game's over. I thought Bohannon looked really good. I thought Chapin looked like a Charlie Brewer with a better arm. And I know that that Zeno is still very, very talented, maybe struggled a little bit with the 2 early picks at almost 3. What was your overall thoughts of what you saw?
Hey, Smoak, I appreciate you being patient with me, man, and having me on. So I hope you guys are doing well.
Yes, sir.
But I was really, I guess you could say I was pleased with the quarterbacks. I mean, of course, I think each of them, would say, hey, I wish I could have done this differently. But, when you're in spring, the hardest defense to go against is the one you've been facing for the last 3 weeks. And they know all the tendencies. They know all the plays. They know all the checks. And you're running, for the most part, you're running a pretty base version of your offense. But I thought from a quarterback perspective, I thought Zeno probably wished he had a couple throws back. Of course, you never want to turn the ball over when you're in a competition. But I expect for him, of course, to come back in the fall and be a big part of that competition. I really did like, as you mentioned, what Bohannon did. I thought he came in, and I really was looking to see, Smoak, okay, let me see how he's developed in the passing game. And it looked like early he really was crisp. Yeah, he was really defined on his throws. Made one wide side of the field hitch throw that I thought was really nice. And then, of course, we know he can use his legs. So impressed by what he did. And then I do like Ushape and the young kid. You can tell that he has a little something to him. He kind of got behind the 8 ball a little bit there because he was going up against our first team D, it looked like. But I like him, and I think when those guys come back in the fall, they're going to have a very heated competition.
JJ, it's always hard to know what to think about spring football. You've only, people have seen a maximum of 3 practices from their perspective. When you see what you've seen, what do you think about where this team is on offense? Because seeing one practice like I did, it's hard for me to gauge where they really are.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough because you got to think now. This is a brand new offense again. So I do like the fact that I'm forgetting the B is Eric Mateo's the offensive line coach. I'm sorry, the offensive line coach. I really like that the offensive coordinator and Mateo, they came together. I think that's very important for continuity. But of course, the defense is going to be ahead because those guys are learning a new offense. So it's really going to be a struggle. And then you have 10 returning starters on defense, so you're going to really have an uphill battle. And then, of course, like I said before, they just know your offense. After about 2 weeks, they know everything you're going to do. So it's kind of tough to get things done. But still, I think the big thing we have to remember, I know you guys have talked about, is this is the first spring that Aranda's been through with this group. And spring is huge just because you have the time to spend with the guys on the field to teach and develop. You're not pressed to get ready for a game and game plan like you are in the fall. And that's just huge for, I think, hey, the game management, the game oversight that he's going to have, plus just kind of the install and how things are executed in the fall.
JJ, was there anybody, and I know the offense didn't have a lot of big plays or big drives or anything, but was there anybody outside of the quarterbacks that maybe popped out to you, stood out to you in any way offensively?
Yeah, when I first started watching, I was really watching the offensive line. I really wanted to see, hey, how different was the scheme, the blocking schemes, how would the guys look? I thought they looked pretty solid. Of course, they still have work to do. He's moving them around, trying to figure out who's going to play where. So I was watching them early. But then, of course, I think like you guys, Taekwon I thought looked good. He didn't have a ton of catches, but he looked like this offense may fit him better. Of course, Abram Smith just seems to get yards. He seems to find a way to make a guy miss. You think he's going to run over a guy, and he makes a guy miss. And I just don't think there's any way coach is going to be able to stick him on defense and leave him there. So, and he runs the type of way I think that Coach Aranda likes. He's kind of a downhill guy. So I was impressed by him. I thought it was really good to see him going. I really like I thought the tight ends. We really will throw the ball to the tight ends. I thought all of those young men did a good job in the passing game, catching the ball, and it looks like this offense. I saw a couple clips of BYU and Houston playing, and he liked those fullbacks and tight ends. So I really like that on the offensive end. So I mean, I think I think overall we'll just see more. We'll be able to see more when these guys get to the fall and get to that first game, because then he'll hone in on who's going to be the guys that he's going to give most of the reps to. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out.
The wide zone blocking scheme, I was talking to Phil Bennett a couple of nights ago and then Aranda yesterday, that puts a lot of pressure on the linebackers, right? The linebackers who are used to shifting with the flow, and if they do, even if it's one step to the right, ding, here comes somebody stepping back with a little one-step, jab step, gone.
Yeah, exactly. And, and people have different names for it. You have stretch, you have wide zone, and, so, and I think just conceptually, it really can work. It can work if you have the right runner with the right vision. And then also you got to just have guys who up front don't have to dominate anybody. They have to be able to hold their position, not get dominated, not let guys get, penetrate. I mean, penetration, like, so we think about it, how many times we missed block, we got dominated at the point of attack. That will blow up any type of blocking scheme. And so it's going to be important that those front guys, kind of really adapt to this new, blocking scheme and Coach Mateos and how they want to do things, because they're going to be the key. A lot of young quarterbacks. Charlie's gone. You're not going to have a fourth year guy back there who can clean up a few things. So you have young guys back there, pulling the trigger.
Did you like what you saw from the wide receivers?
I did, man. I did. And Fleeks didn't get it. He just got in for like a play. I hated not to see Fleeks play out because I really think he's has been what I would call an underutilized guy here. I think he's multi-talented. I think he's explosive. So it's good to see him get in for one play. So hopefully he can stay healthy. Of course, I told you Tyron Thornton, I really liked what he did. RJ Sneed didn't do a lot till the end, but I'm not worried about RJ because RJ is just, to me, he's the guy that moves the chains. Now, I would say what I was really looking for, I was kind of trying to say, hey, can I see Jalen Ellis? Can I see Gleason? Can I see who's going to be the one that stretches? Because we really got compressed last year, and we really couldn't hold up long enough to get the ball vertical. We didn't see it get vertical much on Saturday, but that doesn't surprise me. But I did see Jalen Ellis block. I mean, I think that run Treston Ebner made, Ellis was out there blocking. That's a huge part. Because he's not a big guy. If he can block too and run like I know he can run, all he has to do is prove to the coach that he deserves time if he catch that ball. So I like that crew, man. I think they'll do big things if they can get Fleeks back out there, get a stretch guy out there. Taquan has to be that guy. Each year we've kind of had a guy, and I thought he was going to be it last year. It was really Sneed. If he can come on, they can do big things in that at the wide receiver position.
JJ, how good can this defense be?
Man, last year I was surprised. I was surprised. And now they've gone and added what I call, don't get mad at me. So if his mom's listening, they had a Pooh kid. I'm a young man. Goodness gracious. I mean, he's a man. A couple of times he just lifted guys, right? Mm-hmm. And if you can get someone in the middle and that 3-man line that can hold their spot, can take on double team. And then on the back end, behind you got Bernard, who didn't even play. You got also Petrie, and you got Dillon, and then behind those guys up the middle, always look up the middle. You play this game inside out. Then you have Christian Morgan and JT Woods. I mean, and then on the edge, you have Raleigh, and then you have Barnes. So these guys can be elite, man. I mean, they can be as good as they want to be because they have excellent experience now. They have fantastic talent. And they have two of the best defensive coaches in America. And I think when you have that, you can be a dominant defense.
JJ, I wanted to pass this along, and I know Paul's got his segment coming up. This is from Eddie. As a kid, Baylor was everything to me. Despite all my friends loving Texas A&M, Texas, or some other renowned program, I wanted to cheer for the hometown team. I'm from West, a young age. First quarterback I remember at Baylor, I even got his signature, was Mr. Joe. Now, as a white kid in my household back in the late 80s and early 90s, I wasn't supposed to have an African-American idol. I couldn't help it as I saw JJ as the leader on the field and off.
I got to send that guy a check. No, that's great. I mean, I think, Smoak, I mean, Coach Taft did a great job of establishing and recruiting certain people. And I, just to be frank, I mean, and my mom raised me. She raised me and my brother, and she didn't really mess around a lot. So she instilled in me pretty early, Smoak, that number one, you got to be a God-fearing man. You need to be respectful to others. You need to do as good as you perform on the field. You need to do the same in the classroom, and you need to try to do your best when you're out in the community. So I got to give, all that glory to the good Lord and her for, I was in a good situation. Didn't have a lot of money growing up, but hey, I was trained well. Let me put it that way.
You were. Thank you, JJ, and you are that person too. Thanks for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Smoak. Thank you, guys.
JJ Joe, Baylor football color analyst and also quarterback with us on SicEm365 Radio.
I know we got Paul's segment, but I want to follow up on Randy Clements because there's a couple more details that don't say the absolute reason why, but it does shed some light on the former Baylor O-line coach who was fired by Ole Miss today. They had their spring game 3 days ago. Mm-hmm. It says, sources told ESPN Kiffin's decision to fire Clements was for football reasons and not related to any off-the-field issues. And Kiffin informed Clements that he was making the move Tuesday morning. Last year, Ole Miss led the SEC in rushing with over 210 yards per game and were fourth in sacks allowed. They gave up less than 20 sacks. So, this just not giving many more details, but at least ruling out the off-the-field type of thing.
It's feeding into my theory of, Lane Kiffin just decides, look, it's not working out. You're going to go. Yep. Boom. Yeah. I mean.
Man, if I had Randy Clements, I'm not letting him go unless I absolutely have to. That's insane.
Yeah. All right. Here we go with Paul.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
Brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Waco. They're putting employing right now, but we have our first event Saturday night, May 1st at Rogue Media Network, which is on Washington right next to the Waco Escape Rooms. We're going to be doing improv. We have 2 shows, 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. $20 a ticket. Space is limited, 40 seats for each show. So please go online to Slapsticks Waco. Just Google Slapsticks Waco, and you'll find the links to buy for the 7 o'clock show or for that 9 o'clock show. And you can get tickets. I will be in that show, so come and see me make a fool of myself. The top 10 teams likely to trade out of the top 10. Number 5, the Denver Broncos, and they need a quarterback, unless they're apparently all of a sudden sold on Drew Lock. But if none of those quarterbacks are there, I could see them getting enticed to load up on draft picks and move back out of the top 10. They're at 9, so they're in kind of a weird spot. Number 4, the Cowboys at 10. If some of those quarterbacks haven't gone yet, if there are 4 quarterbacks that haven't gone and that 5th one is still there, whether it's Trey Lance or Mac Jones or whoever it's going to be, the Cowboys, there's a lot of rumors about the Patriots, wanting to trade back in and get a quarterback, and they're at 15, and the Cowboys at 10 would seem to be that kind of reasonable jump. The Patriots never do anything big swing, but the 5 picks is about reasonable.
They've done a lot of things differently in the offseason, though. Spending a lot of money, a lot of free agency, so maybe they'll change.
Well,
I will say, going back to 5 real quick, I don't want John Elway picking my quarterback in the first round anymore. He hasn't proven that he can do it very successfully.
Yeah. Elway and Michael Jordan, to me, seem to have the same kind of thing going in that they were so naturally good, they can't really tell you how they did it.
Yeah.
They're their own thing.
Yeah. I would be leery if I was a Broncos fan of oh, God, we might draft a quarterback. Oh, no, because it has not worked out well.
Number 3, picking at 6, the Bengals. And, this one, or at 5, they're at 5. The Bengals are at 5. The reason I say this, and normally you don't trade out of the top 5, but, there's quarterbacks, they just drafted Joe Burrow. So if there was one of those teams below, if I'm the Bengals, I'm going to load up on picks. The team right after them, the Dolphins, which is the team I'm about to mention, is about to make hay, picking up picks all over the place. That's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And
they just made a trade. They sent Eric Flowers to Washington for a late-round pick and paid 6 of his $9 million.
Yeah, but now they get cap cleared so they can get some of their guys extended that they like. And so the Bengals, I think they'll stay in pat, but it wouldn't surprise me to see somebody get hot and bothered to try to get to 5.
Well, if Penny Sewell's there, then they got to get him to
protect Joe Burrow. Yeah. And number 2, the Dolphins. And the reason I say this, the Dolphins are at 6. They've already traded around in the top 10, out and back in. I just think they're a wild card now. This is what they do. They're kind of holding a lot of cards here, and why not? Why not if you're the Dolphins?
I kind of like what they're doing.
Yeah.
now it got translated to wins and losses, but I
they were 10-6 last year.
Yeah, they seem to be a team that's got a little momentum. It reminds me of back in the day before really free agency took over, where you could see a team building, like even the Cowboys were, and the next thing you know, here they are playing for a championship.
By the way, I just have to note, they changed from a sad dolphin to a happy dolphin. The other dolphin used to be like facing down, and this one is like, he's up, he's happy, he's coming out of the water.
The question is, Tua at quarterback, and can that be enough?
Yeah. Jack doesn't believe in happy dolphins, I guess. Number one, the Panthers at 8. If they're really sold on Sam Darnold, I would not stay at 10 if I were them. I would, or 8. I would load up on picks.
Yeah, that's potential. I mean, I've seen them get mocked, linebacker, like D-line. I've seen them get O-line pick in there. So I've seen them go quarterback, oddly enough, in certain mock drafts. So, it's kind of like I was saying earlier, take them for what they're worth. There's just a lot of noise. But I am intrigued by what Carolina does tomorrow. I'm a Washington football team fan, but I'm rooting for Matt Rule to have success, and so they're kind of a 1, no, not even a 1, but like a 2A for me as far as interest level goes. But
who has the best logo among those 5?
Probably the Cowboys.
Just clear,
simple. Yeah. I don't like the Broncos logo.
No, I don't either.
The other 4 kind of, the Bengals one's kind of generic, really. So, yeah, I'd go Cowboys.
Yeah, I've always felt the Bronco is straining a little too much.
I'm not a big fan of that color combination or that
it's
logo.
too long.
Yeah.
It's maybe the same size.
I think the Panthers logo is cool.
I do too. All right, good stuff, Paul. Yesterday, Paul had 2,700 people on the women's basketball 5 candidates.
People care about what I think about women's basketball. It's amazing.
You care about what you think. And no, it's great. It was great. 2,700
It's up to 8,900 now.
From
Seriously?
yesterday.
Yeah.
8,000.
Almost 9,000 people care what Paul has to say about women's basketball.
Send that to Mulkey. Send it to her.
It doesn't matter anymore.
No, she called me out in the hallway in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
All right, great stuff. Thanks to everybody, including Mack Rhodes. A lot of you are chewing up on that and giving us advice or suggestions, your thoughts. Most of you have liked what you heard. Not everybody will. And as he said, you're not in the job to make everybody happy. For Craig and Paul, for Jack and Armstrong, Eric Dickerson and Chuck Dykes will join us tomorrow. Good night on SicEm365 Radio.
My job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.